What is up? What is up? What is up? Wow, I was kind of singing there a little bit. Ah, shit. You always think you got everything set right before you go live, and then you realize you don't. Oh, what is this doing? So then you gotta mess with it. Ashes of Creation. Time to chat a little bit. A little tiny bit. What is up, everybody? We are in what? Our first day post. What's up, Lulu? Let me get some shit together here. Anybody in withdrawal yet? Are we withdrawing right now? A little bit of withdrawal. We kind of got a little bit of a kiss of a little kiss there, and then she ran away for a little bit. Is that what we're looking at? I barely even played on Sunday, so they're even harder. Yeah. You know, it's been a bit since I've woke up missing a game. Totally fans. I was looking for you yesterday. What's up, brother? I say brother, I don't know. What's up, dude? Man, guy, girl? I don't know. Feeling the Alpha 2 blues yet? Yes. I think we all are. I was just about to say, talking to Lulu here, it's been a minute since I've woke up and sort of missed playing a game. And this morning, yeah, I woke up definitely sort of like, damn, I was leveling pretty good, got my cleric up, and shit, we gotta wait until Friday. As you can see, my 4-letter words are still flowing just fine. So, what about you? What about you, Tonely fans? Are you feeling Alpha 2 Blues? I don't remember. Were you in? Literally, you were playing. Well, I did get a little bit of not so bad. We did get the PTR up today for a little while, which is something we can I can talk about the PTR. I cannot share any visuals from the PTR, but so we are able to actually chat about PTR. We're just not able to show you anything. So they did stand up the PTR today, and for a little while. So they went up at, I think it was 5 my time, so about 3 hours, 5 my time to I think 8 o'clock they went down. Pretty sure about 30 minutes ago. So we got a little bit of time on PTR today. How is the performance in it? Way better than the current build. Sadly, not so much that I found. Maybe a little. So I can tell you, we can just start off with the PTR. Kind of what, hold on, let me pull up there. Well, I can't really share the notes, but I can read them off to you. Shit, where'd I put them? Got a notepad or something where I put them down. Yeah, the focus of the PTR today was a little bit more networking. All right, so here were the patch notes we got. PTR updated notes for October 28th, 2024, which is today. What's up, Sticky? Excited for Friday? Yeah. This was the first game that I woke up this morning thinking, shit, I really wish I could be playing. Got that cleric up to almost 12, ready to go. What's up, Tangent? Yeah, we just chatting away since we got withdrawal for another 4 days. Hopefully just 4 days, right? We don't know that they're going to necessarily fix all of the issues they had there on Sunday, but I will say logging into the PTR is very similar to logging into the main game. So I did have that whole. They implemented the whole Cloudflare thing to log in. So that was on PTR today. So, but anyways, PTR notes. So this is what they had patched up to us. Network improvements to reduce issues with players running in place at server boundaries. Remember that, because I'm going to bring that back up. Performance improvements to some areas of the map. And with that, they actually did a guided sort of playthrough initially, and then they left it up for a little while. But the guided playthrough, they actually did have a very specific area. Again, I can't show it to you, but I can sure as hell go back and look and tell you where it was. It was sort of, you get into Lionhold, kind of up north through Winstead and east through Mirleth. So that's where they were doing their testing for PTR for server stuff. I don't know why they picked those, but that's what they picked. I know there was a lot of server worker stuff going down around Miraleth and Winstead because Jamie and his group were doing a lot of weird shit. What's up, Hell Owner? How's it going? So if you got your cleric to 11 too. Where were you? Where were you? I'm curious where you were grinding, or if you were even grinding. Um, but general network performance optimizations added a character limit to chat messages. I didn't even notice that there was not a character limit to chat messages, but apparently they had not implemented that. So I don't know if that was any form of some bugs. I feel like you would sort of naturally put a chat limit, um, or a character limit to your chat messages, but apparently they did not. So so they did now. Wait, I'm trying to remember names. You weren't with me, right? Same spot I was. So at the I just joined Genesis, guys. So I'm trying to learn everybody that's in Genesis. So apologies for those who I don't remember. All right, so you were in Highwayman Hills. Those three stars. Those were some nice experience. I think it was like 2,500 to 5,500 per pull. Well, per kill actually. Oh, you're in Oaken Forge, yeah. Tangent and a twist away. It's good the DDoS happened this early so they can be prepared later. Yeah, I mean that's the hope, right? But I think it was a little bit I don't know how to say concerning. It was a little bit, clearly they tried to mitigate it with what they had. You're on EU server, yeah. I keep forgetting I started, I have the weirdest sort of stream times. What's up, Mara? Um 3-star zombies are evil, I say. I did not get to any of the 3-star zombies. I'll have to look into that. I was just kind of following the groups. Actually, most of my groups over the weekend were just people that kind of came up and were like, "Hey, what's up?" It's like, "You want to play?" It's like, "Yeah, let's get going." But my stream times have been really weird, right? So Saturday, Sunday morning, I was on at like 5:30 in the morning, my time, until I think Saturday I went like 7-8 hours, and Sunday was I think 5 hours, and then we had our show at night. But um, yeah, and then during the week I'm on late like this. That's primarily because I have to work during the week, so I can't get on. I guess I could get on at like at 5, or I could get real fucking crazy and get up at I don't know, 4 o'clock, 4:30, hang out with the EU people. I don't even know how many EU people would be on. Um, but Ashes has been holding. I feel like Ashes is a hitting a good spot. Well, as it worked today, my boy Vladis was streaming. He was just chatting like we're kind of doing now. I think had almost 400 people kind of hanging out with him during the day today. That's kind of numbers we didn't see before Alpha 2. So I think people are kind of getting really excited. I think the weekend was largely a success for Intrepid. Obviously, there was some shit that kind of happened, and they got to fix some stuff. But I really do feel like this was actually a success for them. Things could have really just gone bad, right? We could have ended up with, they did delay 3 hours, but I mean, you could have delayed a day. You could have had just servers that no one could ever get into. And there were some issues, but, I really do think all in all, they actually had a pretty decent showing here. I think there were some streamers that sort of got frustrated. Was it Soda Poppin'? Somebody? I was watching someone else today on YouTube. So I was watching several of the sort of Monday morning, my thoughts kind of videos. And I think it was, I don't even remember who I was watching, but he commented on Soda Poppin'. So he did rage quit. Yeah. That's what he was sort of commenting on. I guess started yelling about like he didn't know what he was supposed to do, and the quest givers didn't, weren't lighting up for him. He didn't know who to go to, and he didn't know what to do. He rage quit. Yeah, that's okay. I'll have to actually go watch the stream. Um, I don't know. I mean, do people really want? Yeah, wow, brain rot is real. That's what I was about to say. Like, what do people want out of Ashes? Um, what are you expecting? Yeah, Soda Poppin didn't have the patience, indeed. Like, one, it's an alpha, right? So shit's just sort of not where it needs to be. But two, I mean, the long term goal is not to have sparklies and question marks and exclamation marks and all of this. Now we do have obviously some circles on the mini map of where you want to go, but it's not a lot of hand holding. So I don't know. Maybe it's good that some of those folks kind of get out of the way now, um, and just sort of let development continue. Lucky Ghost has some weird takes on his videos. Well, I'll have to look at that. I didn't get through them, all of them, but I'll have to take a peek. Well, to be fair, his chat was giving him some really bad information on purpose in order to drive him crazy. Were you watching? Were you there? I'll have to go. Is that stream up? Like, I'll have to go look. What's up, Mizume? Wait, how do you say your name? Mazamoon? Shit, I probably just fucked that up. My bad. What's up, Pockets? Even beyond the alpha, the intent is not to have hard. Yeah, right. You're really not going to get hand holding in this. So I don't know. That's why I say a lot of these folks. I really wonder. If we can go back in time and actually have Asmund play. If he hadn't been banned. I'm curious what his reaction would have been, and whether that could have influenced sort of overall response to this or not. Asmund would have hated it. That's what I wonder. So I almost wonder, there was this theory or this thought that was Asmund not being here going to actually harm Ashes of Creation's Alpha 2. I actually think him being here might not have been that bad for them. So, because again, I actually do think this went pretty well. What's up, Deebs? Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the follow. I heard Asmund got banned. Yeah. He I mean, the easiest way to put how he ended up banned is he was just a dumbass, basically. He just said some really dumbass shit live on, and he actually said that. That's his own words. He did a sort of semi apology, and basically said he was a dumbass. So he actually, I seem to have taken it fairly well, but it is what it is. He'll be back. Is it tomorrow? Like, it's pretty soon. But I actually do again think Ashes actually had a pretty decent release, and I think you see that carrying over with the excitement. I mean, we had some streams yesterday. The game wasn't even playable, and you had people with 400 or 500 people watching, just sort of chatting. I Am Warrior had a lot of people hanging out with him for a while. That's been played. He had a good stream and fair takes. I need to get to know some more folks. I enjoyed his stream and I don't even follow him. I watched someone today and I can't remember, and I'm not going to waste your time looking, who I had not really watched before, who also I think had some decent sort of ideas and takes on this as well. Same as Narc, he wants to play games on stream, so he wasn't. I think Narc has been testing this. I know he has said he was not. He was going to wait, but I watched part of Narc's video this morning, right when it went posted live. So of course my comment was, "Hey, I'm glad to see you got in," because I think he spent several hours in queue. And there's an initial quest. For those of you who haven't played, there's sort of an intro quest, right? You're spawned into the world and it's kind of helping you a little bit. One of them is to bind to the Ember Spring. It's sort of your respawn point, right? So he went up to the quest giver. Well, one, he didn't follow the path. There's a path you naturally will follow down to this small village. He just went right over the hill, right over the edge. He knew that he would be able to fall and not die. So that was number one. That was sort of the first giveaway, because he fell and he didn't die. But number two, he went straight up to that quest giver, and it's one that's not a natural. You're going, if you've never stepped foot in Vera, you're, number one, not going to know what an Ember Spring is, and two, you're not going to know where it is. And he immediately took the quest and turned around, ran straight to the Ember Spring and attuned. So, and there were some other little things that I saw in him playing. He's clearly been doing this. He's clearly been testing. Now, whether or not it was pre-alpha um, stress testing or more, I don't know. But he clearly knew some of the more not so easy to follow parts of the introductory. So he has some guildies that have been linking it to him. Yeah, I mean, you could say that, Shipples, but I mean, how many people are going to leak that, hey, talk to this person, turn straight around 180, look behind you, go to the Ember Spring, attune to it there. Like, and I don't think there was any editing in that. Like he just naturally took the quest, turned around and went to it. So I don't know. It really doesn't matter. I mean, Narc does what he does to kind of act a little bit, but I don't know. I noticed that today. I was like, hey, wait a minute, something seems a little off here. But yeah, there were other stuff he edited through. So S-Fan had surprisingly 4 hours of uninterrupted Bard play, reported some bugs. Yeah, I mean, I really do think it was a good, again, a good weekend for them. Even with Sunday and Sunday and their sort of first foray into having this massive DDoS, I think that it went well, and I think you see that carrying over. Look, it's Monday. What here? It's 8:45 p.m. my time here on a Monday. We don't have a game to play until Friday, and I got 70 of you hanging out with me right now, and we kind of keep climbing up a little bit. So, I think they had a decent weekend. Asses of Creation is a pretty good game for me to poop on. All right, Stunna. I mean, we can go back and forth. That's cool, man. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that, but uh, and I know where you got Asses of Creation for. He did edit that out, Asman. That kind of made me laugh a little bit, though. I'll be honest when I heard that on the first replay. I'm really happy about Narc's enjoyment of the game. Yeah. Again, I think he's playing a character, so um, I don't think there would have ever been any sort of version of this world where he did not enjoy playing, um, despite some of the editing that he did to make things look a little funny. But going back to the PTR, so the PTR was stood up today um, for about I think 3 or 4 hours. Again, PTR does have a visual NDA, so I can't show you anything or stream from it, but it does not have a verbal NDA. So we were just talking. The PTR this morning was, God damn it, Richie! No one invited you here. I wish I could set your name like we can do in Discord. I would set you to Ricky. Um, yeah, LOL, this guy. Again, Richie got away from us only because of lag. That is the only reason he did not die to us. So, and there is the man Royer that I was talking about as well. Royer had a shit ton of people with him yesterday, again, while the game was down. So, um, so I think it was a good weekend. I think Intrepid, I think if you ask anybody within Intrepid, they're going to tell you, despite, a lot of the stuff that kind of went down, they're going to feel that it was um, pretty good weekend for them. So, but back to the PTR. So PTR was stood up today for a little while. They wanted us to do mostly networking. So again, the PTR, it's a pretty brief note patch. Or pretty brief notes, which were network improvements to reduce issues with players running in place at the server boundaries. I'm sure many of you saw that, and I tried to actually warn you, or not warn you, but I mentioned that um, in a video and talked about it quite a bit. That there's been this persistent bug. As soon as you cross the server boundary, you just see all these people standing there, or their horses, one of the two. Um, so that was part of tonight. Performance improvements in some areas of the map, and again, they had a guided sort of test for the first part of TTR, and then the rest was sort of do whatever you want. They actually did buff everyone up to level 10. So, um, we had asked Stephen had been asked the question of whether or not I'm the one who knocks. What's up? Whether or not they would increase levels to have specific testing needs, and they actually did that tonight for the PTR. So, but the specific areas they had initially were from the sort of Lionhold area up to Winstead and then over to Mirleth were the testing areas. And then general network performance optimizations. And then we mentioned this, they added a character limit to chat messages. I'm really surprised they did not have that in beforehand. I'm really surprised. So, Richie in here still talking shit. I'll be there again next week. You might be standing on Phantom X's ashes. I mean, it's a challenge. We'll do it. We'll go for it. Is PTR having a test? Yeah. It's I think closed right now. It was from. Actually, I can look real quick. Yeah, it's down now. So they brought it up just briefly to test these networking stuff. Because I think everybody would agree networking is one of the bigger issues right now, which is obviously why we're doing Alpha 1 phase, Alpha 2 phase 1 anyways, is networking performance. But so what did I get to experience in PTR tonight? Well, immediately while logging in, the first part I mentioned was about server boundaries. And so actually this time I got all the way, I didn't even get that far in. I got past the sickly goblins and to where you really start to go down the hill into the main introductory area. And there was just a wall of people there, a wall of people running in place. Running in place. God damn, on-screen celebration. I didn't even know that was there. What should I do? Yay. Oh, wait, it popped something up. What the hell? I didn't do that. How'd that happen? I'm a bad streamer. I thought that was me having to do a celebration. Some other shit popped up. Yeah, that's the first boundary. Yeah. But yes, it is the first boundary, but I've never had an issue there. My main issue with seeing the boundaries very clearly was in the sort of goblin areas. No idea. Just wanted to say hi. What's up? Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you being here. Was it Dirto Astinator? Did I say that right? Dirto? I'm gonna fuck up everybody's name. Sorry. And as we say, this is Phantom X After Dark, so I do tend to curse. I apologize for that. I've never had the death wall there, but after their network improvements as were put in for this, I ran directly into a Dare German for the Toastinator. All right, I got that. That's nice. Ran right into a wall. So I don't know that their network improvements really did a lot there. And this was actually a physical wall, which was also kind of odd. I think prior, when you would see all of these characters running in place at a server boundary, you could go through them. But this one, they were all physically like I was blocked. I could not move through them. So that was kind of interesting. That has never been an issue before. The other thing is as soon as I oh shit, I got all y'all coming to hang out. I appreciate you. Penumbra, yes. I'm just sort of hanging out at this point. I'm having fun. The bug's in me. And so we're gonna keep doing this as long as we can go. Vladis is here. Vladis had a amazing stream this morning. Who's a sexy guy with an awesome beard? I don't know who the fuck you're watching, but it ain't me. Are those headphones? Am I they're inner ear monitors? Was that IEMs? If you get a good pair, sound is like a lot better. A lot better. So these actually I prefer these far over headphones at this point. So they actually block out sound pretty good too. And it's actually Royer. I am Royer here in chat who got me into these. So they're not that expensive. Well, depending on what you want to do, you can get a lot of different variations. But back to their networking patch fix today. They were trying to reduce these players issues with players running in place. I seem to have had an opposite effect. The model, oh shit, I'll have to pull that up for you later. Actually, I'm sure Royer could probably recommend something too, because I probably took whatever he said to do. It actually seemed worse. Like I said, I ran into a bunch of people at a boundary I've never had a problem with before tonight. So I don't know what went backwards. Like I said, the really, really odd part about this is prior, when you would have these people running in place, you could run through them just fine. Because they were not the reflections of the character, they're not the actual character. tonight I couldn't run through them. I was blocked. So I had to jump around them. And actually, as soon as I jumped around them, I disconnected. So I don't know. I don't know what went into their patch tonight for that, but it did not seem to work super well for me. Now, I did actually log back in, no problem, and ran over to where I do normally see some of those server boundary issues over in that, again, that sort of northeastern Goblin area. Didn't seem as bad there, but there were still some things there too. So I don't know. But this is Monday, just day one. Once you log in, never log out. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we got to figure out to create a program that keeps you logged in, that moves the mouse or does something, an auto clicker. I don't know. The other thing, um, like I said, performance improvements for some areas of the map. Again, that was Winstead and Marileth. Um, I didn't have any real big issues other than the server boundaries. So I don't know. We didn't have a long play time. Like I said, they bumped everyone up to 10, but um, so you can only do so much in that period of time. But I just realized I got the logo going over the chat. That's not supposed to be that way, or the social. Let's pull that down a little bit. There we go. That'll be better. So I'm not blocking the beautiful, beautiful chat that are in here. Nah, that's not Natty Light. That's Miller Light. That's just what I had in the refrigerator at this point. So it was either that or make an actual cocktail, and I didn't really want to make a drink. So you know, no, we don't have Natty Light here. I'll get some if you want me to drink it on cam. I don't really care. That's fine. I didn't get to play much. What level are you? No, well, they buffed everyone up to 10. So it really was only up. PTR was only up for about 3 hours tonight. So there really wasn't a lot of time to play around in PTR. So it really was more of a networking test at this point. So yeah. I hope I get in without pain one day. I'm going to, yeah, we're going to do another giveaway. I was trying to figure out just what we're going to do for those of you who don't have access, because we're in a weird spot. One is we have Extra Life this Saturday. Historically, Intrepid does stuff, does a 24-hour stream. But the keys, so to get into the November 8th testing, which is the next immediate time that you can get in if you buy a key now, the key sales for that actually end on November 1st. So they are going to stop selling those keys Friday at, like, I think they said 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I can't, so we can still do a key giveaway over the weekend for Extra Life, but that means the keys we do then are going to be for when is it? December 20th or whenever it is. December 20th will be the next time getting in. I did actually ping them just to see if they might think about changing that, at least for the weekend. And I don't think they're going to do that at this point. It is, the date is the 1st. So I'm trying to think of whether we do a key draw on Thursday, but I promised the EU folks that I would try to do something in the morning. Yeah, unless they delay that date, they aren't going to. That's what that's basically what I asked, and so they're not going to at this point. So you have until Friday right now to get a key in order to get in on November 8th. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until the end of December. I am Royer Linsol. Yeah, that is what I picked up. Yeah, that's what I have in my ears right now. So works very, very well. Glad you got in. I crashed a bunch loading in this test. Yeah, what do you have PC wise? The other thing I will say I noticed, I've been paying a lot more attention to my VRAM usage with the game because we had a lot of streaming issues. Saturday, I couldn't even do my cam at the same time as streaming. So actually Sunday, I flipped, OBS is running off CPU instead of GPU right now, which has seemed to help. But I will say, I don't know if they didn't put anything in the notes, but on the PTR at least, the VRAM usage actually seemed better than it did over the weekend. So I don't know if they've made some sort of improvements or not for that, but it did seem actually better. Baldwin, when is the drawing going to happen? Sorry, I just joined. Well, we drew 3 keys yesterday. So we drew 3 yesterday during the Ashen Forge. So right now I'm debating on when to do the next keys. I was saying that the tricky part is that if you don't have a key by, if you don't buy your key by 11 a.m. Pacific on Friday, you will not be able to get in until December 20th. And so we had planned to do key giveaways Saturday morning, but now, and we can still do that, but unfortunately, those folks who win will still have to sit out until December 20th, assuming they actually make their December 20th date, which is an assumption. I'm not sure how accurate that's going to be, but we'll see. Especially after some of the networking stuff actually did not seem that much better tonight for me. So I'm trying to think of how best. If we enter the first, does it count for the second? No, unfortunately, when I close it out, it's just closed. I could refund everyone, but since we pulled them, we pulled them. We're still going to do keys, so I don't want anybody to worry. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do it to try to get people in on the 8th, November 8th, rather than December 20th. It does sound like Intrepid's going to do something for Extra Life, but they might not necessarily do it on Saturday, since they're going to be a little busy on Saturday. Hearing all these issues, I'm glad I have a 2PC set up. Yeah, for streaming, for sure. Like, it was hard Saturday. A lot of the VRAM stuff was just problematic. My monitors would flicker every so often, which would cause the stream to actually freeze. So, but it actually seemed a little bit better today. Get Sam Adams, Jack O, best pumpkin beer in my opinion. I'm a pretty simple man. I guess I could try pumpkin beer, but I'm not super super complicated. Yeah, if that DDoS attack starts again Friday, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. On Friday and we lose the whole test weekend, dates might get pushed back. That's true. That might happen. I was actually a little surprised that they didn't push. Usually when they delay things, they will give us a little bit of extra time on the end, and they did not this time. So I think that speaks a little bit to the complications they were having and the difficulty they were having getting things fixed, for them just to cancel it and not give us extra time. So unfortunately, yeah, in addition to all of the just networking performance stuff that they had to work on anyways, now they're going to have to figure out how to get things set up for DDoS attacks in a little bit better of a way. So I hope they get that fixed. That's not been something we've had to deal with before, obviously. So the PTR does not get not DDoS. No, I don't know. Not that we've seen. It was fine this tonight. Yeah, just logged in, and I think access is a little easier controlled there, but I'm not sure. But yeah, we've not had any problems with the PTR. Of course, the PTR has not been stood up for very long either. But yeah. So I think this weekend went well for Intrepid. I really do. Despite some people like Soda Pop and Rage quitting, despite the attack that occurred Sunday, I feel like for the most part, there were, of course, some upset folks, but I feel like for the most part, people seem to, the folks that are actually being targeted by this game, by Intrepid, their sort of target audience, I think they enjoyed their time. So, I think it was a decent weekend for them. $120 for a key. Yeah, that's what it is right now. I mean, keep in mind, people paid what, $250, I think. I mean, I paid even more, but I'm in PI, so I won't. You can go look up how much that costs, and you can judge me if you want. But it was initially 220 for just the key. That did not have the month of game time. It did not have any embers. It did not have access to beta 1, beta 2, and all this other shit. It does now, because people really, really got pissy about it. That is, in fact, somebody mentioned this in chat earlier. That is, in fact, where the asses of creation statement came from from Asman, was the initial sort of key non-bundle, because they said they were not going to bundle things, and then they did. So I'm never paying to test for them. That's kind of weird. I mean, I forget. Did you pay anything on COE? I don't remember. I think people are a bit wild for bashing an alpha game. Oh, for sure. What was driving me nuts over the weekend, and it probably was intentionally to try to drive me nuts, were the people coming in saying this game looks like it's from 2004. You know, this is a PlayStation 2 game. What the hell? The graphics are terrible. It's just like, come on now. This is not a PlayStation 2 game. You're either a dumbass or you're just trying to fuck with me. One of the two, and probably a little bit of the both. But that seems to be the most common thing that people come in that are trying to criticize, is that they all just want to say it looks terrible. But it might. Twitch doesn't have the best presentation of games, and most of us are not running on Ultra. I could not run on Ultra while streaming and doing all this other stuff. I had to run on the middle setting. Still look good to me. But yeah, someone somewhere decided to troll Ashes with that. Yeah. Well, again, Steven's FAQ was hilarious for this. I think I've shared it. I have it on here. There it is. I need to, let me close my cam. So there's the FAQ. I think you all have seen this. I know I've shown this before, right? Running full cinematic looks great. Yeah, I wish I could do that, but I don't know how. I just with streaming, it's hard. Love what I've seen so far with graphics. It's more about the gameplay, but still looks good and familiar in a way. Yeah, I agree. It is about the gameplay. Combat is the most important part right now, and combat does feel pretty good. And that's been something that I have seen, even from people who thought it looks kind of generic. They have all said that the combat feels pretty good. So, and I think that is the best starting point Intrepid could have, is good combat. My OBS kept shutting off, so I had to turn graphics to low. Yeah, that happened to me. That actually had happened, Pockets. That happened midstream. Actually, my stream cut out, and the game kept running. Actually, OBS kept running, but the stream cut out. It was weird. I paid 100 just for a beta 1 key, then paid 150 for alpha access. Yeah, the 120 keys are a great price. It is, relative to what other people paid. It is definitely a great price. Silver, I can guarantee it's not PS2 quality. Oh, the PS2 was kind of in the golden area. Yeah, I mean, it looks much better than GoldenEye, right? Yeah, you need two computers. Oh shit, just lost where I was. Need two computers to run full graphics and stream. I mean, I might look into Warrior setup, but I do have two PCs in my desk. So I think I've told this before. I actually, when we built our house, the gentleman that created built our cabinets and our bookshelves and shit, I had them build me a desk that has two computers inside the desk, and it has a glass top. It's pretty fun. I have a YouTube video up on my personal channel somewhere about it, but so I guess I could do two computers. I mean, I have room for it right here. I just don't know how much heat would start coming out of both of them. I would have, if I would have heard about the game when the Kickstarter first came out, I think I would have bought the free lifetime membership for sure. I love not having to pay a sub. The better the game like the better and the further along we get, the more I love not having to have the more I love having a lifetime sub, because it starts getting more realistic that the gamble I paid is going to pay off a little bit. I was running high on all settings, getting 90 FPS. Yeah, that's good. That sounds really good. On Ultra and streaming and everything else, I think I was getting like 25, something like that. I played on high. The game looks good to me. It might be stream running. Yeah, that could be too. I did, but see, I thought Baldwin, I thought you paid for COE. So don't say you not never paid for games for testing. We didn't even get to test COE. That's the funny part here. We paid for it and we didn't even get to test it. I mean, I guess technically it's still in development by one person, but generic games gaming. What's up? How you doing? Thanks for hanging out with us. Joining us. We're just talking about Ashes of Creation. See what everybody's opinions are. I think that they had a good weekend for the most part. I'm catching up on chat, guys. That's why I'm kind of running through here. Okay with it. I'm not a lord in the ashes, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not a. I have a county in the COE still technically, but you know, if we ever get that, um, I think it can launch with one continent, expand to the second one. That would be cool. Yeah, Silver. That's been our thoughts for a little bit. We actually asked Steven that. We asked him whether he would do that, and one, it's just getting very costly, right, for him. I know he says that he can fund the game, and maybe he can, but that still doesn't mean that it's costing any less. So we asked him whether or not he would consider releasing with less content, having all your systems in, but with less content. And he didn't say no. He didn't say yes either. He basically said he basically said possibly. So take that for what you want, but um, doing pretty good. Wishing the PTR was still up. Yeah, I jumped on it for a little bit too. Although doing too much of the PTR starts to burn me out a little bit, and I want to avoid that if I can. Hey, first time in, is the alpha still open? So yeah, for phase 1, it's just Friday through Sunday. Phase 2 will be 5 days a week. Phase 3 will be 24/7. Supposedly phase 2 starts December 20th. Supposedly phase 3 starts in May. I say supposedly because Intrepid has a hard time making their dates. I love Intrepid, but I am not afraid to say that they have a hard time making their dates. So I will say, if you have an interest in this, if you watch some stuff and thought it looked cool, you have to buy a key by Friday. I think it's November 1st, 11 a.m. Pacific, to be able to get in with the next in a group, which will be November 8th. If you do not have a key by Friday afternoon, the earliest you'll be able to play is December 20th. So I think there's a decision to be made for some folks right now, whether to buy a key. If you don't, again, if you don't by the end of this week, you still can, but you're not going to get in until December 20th. So keep that in mind. I was wanting to do some theory crafting and testing on weapons. Yeah. Yeah, the PTR just not up long enough for that. Most of the reviews I've watched said how unfriendly the game is to solo. That's true. Thunder, that is very true. You can solo. Most of the classes can solo just fine up until I want to say levels 7, 8 or so. Once you get to level 9, your experience gain, the experience needed to get to the next level increases tremendously. So, yeah, you're going to want to be in a group. You'll be able to solo. So I don't want it to sound like you can't solo. You will be able to solo still, but it's going to take you a really long time to get anywhere in the game if you're soloing. It's possible. It's just not going to be fun or easy to do. It might be an Iron Man challenge for some people, but a good example, on Sunday we were grinding some pretty difficult levels and actually gained 2. But we had a group of 8 and we were doing 3-star mobs. So 3 stars you'll never get to do solo. And we were doing them actually 2-3 levels above our level. And so we were getting really, really good experience gain. But yeah, solo is going to be difficult for some folks. So I got level 6 just from chopping trees. You must have chopped a shit ton of trees. Trees were the only thing you could find. That's the other problem, is there was all of the harvestables were taken. Like, there were so many people in, you couldn't find anything to mine. It's driving me nuts, man. I just kind of gave up on artisanship for now, because there just was just too many people. I definitely have one character level pure solo. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, you're probably going to want to have a character that you can kind of just go to, I guess, and hang out with by yourself. That you don't put in a guild. You don't do when you want to just be antisocial, for sure. Honestly, sorry, I'm catching up. Phelan, honestly, it does look like shit. The graphics don't match each other and they need to be smoothed and coordinated. I think they're not supposed to be that I think they're not supposed to be that worried about graphics right now because graphics are something that you skin over a working skeleton, and right now they need to get the skeletons perfected. I don't need eye candy as much as I need play candy. That's very well put. Sure. I don't know. Again, I still think saying it looks like shit is a stretch. Um, most of Unreal 5 games don't look like shit, but anymore we're so used to things looking really nice. I think it's easy to sort of lose perspective. Not that you're losing perspective, but um, can it look better? Sure, I'm sure it can look better, but I don't know that I would say it looks like shit. Hey, just bought the Alpha 2 First Wave bundle. How do I download the launcher or game? Well, one, welcome in. Thanks for hanging out with us. I appreciate you kind of coming and checking out and Ashes of Creation and asking some questions. So, unfortunately, right, if you just bought the if you just bought the bundle now, you will not be able to get in until November 8th. So, any of the key bundles that are open to purchase right now, the earliest you can get is November 8th. Meaning if you do not have alpha access already, alpha 2 access, you won't until November 8th. And that should have been on the key when you purchased it. But they did that, I think, for two reasons. One is for pure networking reasons. They wanted to spend 2 weeks really trying to get their servers a little bit better before they added a lot of extra people. And two, I think they didn't want to completely piss off and alienate the folks that bought in early. When we did not think they were going to reopen keys so soon, and then they did. And I think that, and they did for actually a really good price point for what they were giving away. And I think a lot of people already felt kind of upset that they had sort of this FOMO process, back in December, and so they spent 250, but now you can get an Alpha 2 key for 120. It's I think there's some significant concerns. So they just did not. So it's almost like they wanted to give everyone that gave them um, faith early. They wanted to let them have 2 weeks first. So you will not be able to get in until November 8th. But after that, you're in for forever. So, well, up until you have to pay a subscription. So, the trouble with leveling from chopping trees is you don't get any weapon. Oh, that's true. I never thought of that. You don't get weapon experience. Just artisan and adventuring and node, right? Good until launch. Silver XX. So you must know what you want then. I wish there were more people like you. I think there are a lot of people trying to play a game right now, and a game just doesn't exist yet. It kind of does, but it's like an infant. So Dr. Burns actually had a great video this morning, the Copium Clinic. Kind of likened this process to building a house. Yeah, hello, Silver. It's great to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us. He basically said when you start building the foundations of a house and you have a couple of walls up, you don't come to that and say this house looks shitty. Like who would live in this house, because it's still being built, right? I thought that was just actually a wonderful analogy. Like that's where we're at. Like to judge Ashes right now is like judging a house that's only got its foundation poured and nothing else. Like you just don't have it, to do that. If someone did that, you would look at them and say, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? It's the house isn't done yet. But for some reason we judge games a little bit differently. And admittedly, part of that's because this game has been in development for 7 years, but yeah. 9 months to get foundation and 2 weeks to get the walls up. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the walls do go up fast. We built our house, so it's actually I like the analogy he used. Lifetime subscription, generic games, gaming. Yeah, me too. I always like to brag a little bit that I'm Kickstarter backer number 3. I wish I knew who numbers 1 and 2 were, but I don't. I wish I did, so I could say, why did you beat me? But yeah, part of why I am at backer number 3 is because I knew I wanted the lifetime sub, so I just click, 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 and was done. For those of you who actually did get a Kickstarter, you can still upgrade. You don't, if you have Kickstarter, you can upgrade. So, all right. Yeah, as Phelan said, fortunately, November 8th is less than 2 weeks up. Yeah, that's very, very true. Also, you're not missing much, right? You're essentially missing 6 days of gameplay. That's it. Actually 5 at this point, because most people did not get to play Sunday. Were you a Kickstarter backer? Yeah, I was a Kickstarter backer from the start. My current tinfoil, this is from Ludaloo. My current tinfoil theory is that Intrepid tuned down the resolution in the INI file on purpose so that more people get a slightly better performance in the game. Certainly possible. Certainly possible. Somebody posted a screen that appeared to show a significantly um, shortened draw distance. And so when I logged in, that's one of the things I started looking at. Like, did they change that view distance? I did not have that same problem, so I don't know what the difference was in the games or settings, but I actually did not have that problem. So I don't know. That also could be just somebody just bullshitting, but who knows? I'm curious what will happen with new players joining after some time when majority of players are mid-high level and there's not enough people to start levels to play group focus games. It's a good question. Um, we do have to sort of look at Ashes a little differently, right? It's not going to be your sort of typical WoW leveling process where people out level others. Um, Ashes is just built different, so that's a good question. But I think we have to look at it a little bit differently with nodes and things. Um, but it's a good question. Like I said, soloing is really not going to be an option very much um, beyond the first sort of 5-6 levels. The only option I have in the AO shop is the Voyager Plus pre-order pack. That's too bad. Yeah, I saw someone say they couldn't see a caravan. So I did have some weird shit with the caravan. We were in Winstead and going back to our grind spot in the Highwayman Hills, and we got the notification that there was a caravan. So as we were walking out the road, we actually did come upon another guild that was running a caravan, and we would have been a group of 8 of the same guild. And we weren't sure. It's like things like the screen kind of flashed black a little bit. Not my monitors, but the actual game screen. And then all of a sudden the caravan disappeared. So we weren't really sure if that was a bug and um, the caravan just went poof, or we thought maybe that it was a smaller group running the caravan and they were not that far from Winstead, like whether or not they saw us as a group coming up on them and they just put it away or whatever, desummoned the caravan. We're not really sure, but it was kind of weird. It was a weird visual component to that. What's up, Planadorth? Thanks for hanging out. We'll find out how level discrepancies feel on the 8th. Very good. Yep, there's your answer. Um, there's your answer. We will see what it's like. Levels themselves do not feel like they do much, but gear is the main difference in damage. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of power differences in gear. That's I would agree with that. This early on in development could be a bug. Yeah, I mean, and we didn't stick around honestly to find out. It was just a really weird interaction. I'm curious to see what this weekend looks like compared to last weekend. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll still keep updating you on PTR. If we get any more, I assume we'll get more PTRs pushed up this week. So again, I can't share anything visually with you, but I can certainly talk about it. So should take 4 days to dig and pour the. Oh, we're back. Yeah, the house analogy I was using. All right, let me read this through. Should take 4 days to dig and pour the foundation, 60 days to cure, and then you should be able to start framing. You're really going through the whole thing. Yeah, you can frame a bunch in the warehouse, but then you have to move it out there. The curing is what takes the most time, but then you need a month of plumbing and shit too. Yes, it's a long process. I think that's what you're trying to say. It's a very long process. and so we just got to give it some time to let it work, make it happen. Um, what pack did you go with? I have been looking at upgrading my backer pack. So I had what, Braver of Worlds. I think that's the 5. I think that's the lifetime sub. I went up to the next one. I love telling this story. I don't know how many of you were with us yesterday. I know we've had a lot of new folks joining in, which has been wonderful. Thank you, by the way, for hanging out with us and getting to know me. I am one part. Well, I have a couple of guys that hang out with me on Sundays. Their names are Diggs and Neurotoxin. We do the Ashen Forge. We actually had our show last night, and so my first increase in my package, Diggs. I should go back one step further. For those of you who have been in the community for a while, you're going to probably know the name Diggs. For those of you who have not, Diggs is well known in the forum community specifically, but also Discord. He really likes to debate. I'll put. I think that's the nicest way I can put it. He really likes to debate, and he is rarely wrong. So there's a lot of opinions about Diggs. A lot of opinions. Probably half are good, half are bad. Half people are going to white knight for him. Half of people are going to kill him when they see him. So I thought it would be really fucking fun to upgrade my Kickstarter pack to the one that lets me help name and create an NPC. And so I did that so that I could create a Diggs NPC that will forever be in the game. And so that all of these people that like to give Diggs shit, we're going to have to see him in game. By the way, he actually at one point also said he was not going to play the game. And he is now, but he actually did play a little bit this weekend. But I thought it would be really, really hilarious to create an NPC that was Diggs. So that was my first, and then I actually upgraded to PI. So I actually did that really late. I upgraded to PI, I think in March or April of this year. So I had wanted to for a long, long time. PI is Phoenix Initiative, for those who are unaware. It's sort of like a group of backers that are sort of early, kind of early testers and get to do a little bit more with the team behind the scenes. I waited to do that because of the Ashen Forge. I didn't want to potentially like break NDA or mess up our show. But then we got to March and April and I was finally like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And so I did. And a lot of people were curious, like, why did you, why did you wait so long? And then it's a waste of money. I don't think it was a waste of money. So, anyways, that's a long, long story. White Knight for Diggs. I'll protect him if you can find him. I'm looking to upgrade to Hear the People. Yeah, I mean, if you can, just see what works for you, right? Do what's best for you. Can you speak to the gathering crafting numbers that you're aware of? Does it take like 10 gatherers to keep one crafter busy? Oh, that's a good question. Right now, gathering is the easiest part of this. Well, I say that you can't find anything right now because there were so many people playing. Planendorf, I don't know. It might be just my perception. It seemed like it was incredibly hard to find some of the resources, specifically mining. You could find trees pretty well, but I almost gave up on, well, I did give up on anything mining. And I didn't know if that's just because the respawn rates didn't really match up well with the numbers of people we had or what, but it was really, really hard to really find anything for mining. But back to the original question, maybe they're more based in the desert. I mean, you'll have resources in the desert, sure, but I'm just talking about the initial stuff, right? There were a ton of things that were the next level certification, but you can't get to the next certification if you don't have the the beginning stuff to actually mine. And I couldn't find anything. So, but back to the original question, harvesting, or sorry, yeah, harvesting is probably, yes, is one of the easier parts to the whole artisanship loop. You're going to be able to harvest quite a lot of stuff in a fairly small period of time. Processing is, I think, the bottleneck right now. So it takes a while to process stuff. It takes a minute to process an item. So And processing also takes multiple different subcombine type stuff. So, yeah, we got a lot of feedback. Yeah, good. Yeah, that was the trees seemed okay. The mining stuff though seemed super hard to find. So crafters are going to need a lot of processors, basically. So if I were you and you really want to be a crafter, yeah, I also think it's going to be really hard to solo crafting, probably to any point that you would want to. So I would get in a guild that has a lot of people that will be processing to funnel you stuff. Because also almost all of your crafting items, your final items are going to need a lot of different subcomponents, more than you'll be able to do on your own. So get into a guild, and that should be much easier on you. Crafting is a grind right now, just the same as everything else. So it's also in its infancy. It's got a lot of work to be done. I am Warrior. Planendorf dragged me into PvP battles, got me DC'd twice. Well, that's what he's supposed to do. That's testing the servers, right? He's just using you to test the servers. All right, Planendorf, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate all y'all do. Thank you again. I got 7 to 8 basalt and some other mats. Sorry, I missed something. The lakeshore was filled with them. But I guess that's because literally no one went there. Yeah, that might be. No one went there. You know, I was going to places that I was used to from pre-alpha, but there really was a shit ton of people. I can't stress enough to you all how many people were in this test compared to what we've had previous. There was a lot of fucking people in this game. So it was great to see. Absolutely great to see. So I didn't know where to get flax. I wanted to make a cloak. Yeah, that one's hard to find too. A lot of that stuff's just hard to visually see. Oh, he already left, or I give him another feedback. Um, I wish when your character, you know, you can have a soft lock on combat. I wish similar to that, if your character sort of visually went over a resource, that you would actually get the name of the resource to show up, rather than just like a little circle. Um, I feel like that could be done better to where you can see things around you. I also don't like the distance that it takes to see. So you have to run up almost entirely on top of whatever you're trying to gather to even really see what it is. You know, I didn't really like that. Gathering did not feel good. Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of work to do. I think some of the animations felt good. I think chopping down trees, mining, you know, that feels good. The loop itself, though, needs a lot of work. A lot of work. So, um, let's see how many people fit in a zone. Well, they're going 3K concurrency for the servers, but we also have to we got to get in the habit of referring to servers as realms, because then because the realms all have different server workers. They're working on dynamic gridding, but that is not in yet. I do not think that will be in for a while. At which point it will make it a lot easier to host all these people. But so that's a good question about how many people fit in a zone. I mean, right now they are using a queuing system also within the introductory areas. They will not let people in the queue get into the game until the immediate area around where you zone in is gets less and less numbers of people. It actually kind of sounds like an interesting system that they've stood up. But I had purchased one of the packs a few days ago, but just to clarify, starting on November 8th, it's only weekends until December 20th, correct? Yes. Yes. So if you start November 8th, you are still only going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday until whenever they do phase two. They keep saying phase two will be December 20th. You know, take that with a grain of salt. They want to, I guess the best way to gauge whether they're going to make their target is to look at what their to look what was under phase one and see how close that is to being completed, because they do want to complete each phase before moving on to the next phase. But yes, come December 20th, you will be able to then play 5 days a week. And then Mayish of 25, it'll be 24/7. When surveying is in, it might be better. That's true. Yeah, we still don't really know how that's all going to work. John Bond, I did fishing for a while, and when I came back, I thought it was broken, but really I just had to repair and fix fishing skills. Need a better message. Uh, yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, anything broken, yeah, it does need to be communicated better. Fishing, I don't know. Fishing, I'm very picky about. I like fishing in games. I know that might sound weird to some people. Um, I would grind out fishing in World of Warcraft. New World's fishing felt amazing. I really hope they would take some stuff from New World and kind of combine it a little bit with what BDO has done. Right now, it's all just AFK fishing, so um, it's not super fun, not super engaging. Um, you don't even catch stuff all the time, so there wasn't. I want to get to some of these bugs that are listed if we can, but I did see it was less of a bug, more of a potential exploit where actually I think there was a quest to turn in some fish, but it didn't actually take your fish. So you could just turn in the quest, log out, log back in, get the quest again, and kind of rinse and repeat. But fishing has a lot of work to be done right now. So um, the best way to see that was line holds near constant event. Because events tell you the amount of participants. Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that. The highest I've seen was like 130, 140. Oh, that's a really good point, Ludaloo. I didn't even think about being able to check. You're right. It does show participants. I didn't even think about doing that. That would give us a good idea of how many people are in. So phase 1, 2, and 3 are all part of Alpha 2. Yes. Any info on the parts after that, the betas? Only that there will be a beta 1 and a beta 2. Also, that Alpha 2 will run concurrently with beta 1 and beta 2. The Alpha 2 server will eventually become the long-term PTR server. So other than that, that's all we know. I think they intend betas to be shorter. They've said that in the past. Steven intends for all of the content to be in alpha too by the end of it. And so that would probably by necessity make betas less time consuming. But we don't really know a ton about betas yet. I am Rory. I really enjoyed, yeah, New World fishing. Yeah, I think that was the best fishing I've ever had was in New World. I didn't even know gear had durability until I was selling stuff. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot that needs to be in with communicating on a UI perspective, kind of what's going on. Stephen said, most things in each phase will be completed by the end of each phase, but made it clear that there's a good possibility not everything. Did he really say that? I took it that because the asterisk that I took was that most things wouldn't be in at the start of each phase, but they would be in by the end of each phase. Do you know where he said that? I'm not like trying to question you. I just don't I don't remember him saying that. Definitely a placeholder right now. Same with taming. Yeah, taming's awful. Taming is just that whole system, that hunting system to walk up to a random mob that's just standing there and that's white and can't attack you and just spam your F key is just not great. So it's not great feeling. Um, oh yeah, so you answered that. You will have 2 betas, yeah. I was packing to move, so it worked for me on Saturday. Ranger camouflage made my facial hair disappear and made my character see through for those parts once it was done. That's awesome. That is awesome. I hope you got a picture or video or something of that. Shipples. John Bond, yeah, also like New World fishing. Yeah, yeah. Best there is. Um, looking to upgrade to the hero of the people. Yeah, I mean, just take your time. There's at this point they've not told us that there's going to be any sort of end date that you can't upgrade. So, if you're not in a rush, I wouldn't worry about it right now, unless like tomorrow they say, oh, you know, December is the last that you can upgrade your Kickstarter packages. Oh, then okay, maybe it's better to look. But right, they've not said they're going to do that even at this point. Uh, hi, hello, hi to you too. What are you, voice sexy? All right. If I buy the $120, when can I play the game? I'm confused by phase 1 through 3 and wave 1 through 3. Yeah, it is confusing. Admittedly, it is confusing. So, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for joining the chat. And that's a good question. Right now, if you buy the key, you will get in November 8th, and you will get in for all of the testing. The earliest you can get in is November 8th. Now, The last time you can purchase this key for the first wave is Friday, so November 1st at like 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you buy it after that time, so if you buy it Saturday, Sunday, Monday next week, then the earliest you will get in is December 20th, which is phase 2. Phase 1 is meant to just be really networking, really to get some of the multiplayer parts together so that we can actually continue to test other parts of the game. So if you're not really into that, if you're not really going to be happy with things breaking and falling apart, then phase 1 might not be the best time for you. Now, phase 2 is supposed to start December 20th, but I always say take that with a grain of salt. We don't really know that dates are going to hold up. And with Ashes of Creation, dates have not really held up. So, so the Rogue and Summoner aren't in yet. Nope. Could all the monsters in the world be because of a Rogue Summoner? I don't know. The Summoner is an interesting one still, right? That they had to stand up the mount system before they could finish working on the Summoner. I thought that was an interesting statement. Have they mentioned when the plan on having servers in Oceania or Alpha? No, not yet. I don't believe so. Right now, they're just going with the 3 for NA and 3 for EU. I don't think they've mentioned yet anything Oceania. I mean, I guess I can check the wiki real quick while we're all kind of hanging out and see if there's anything about that, but I don't believe they have said anything about that. Yeah, so here, all that's in the wiki is the likelihood is very high for Sydney or Melbourne-based OCE servers. Oh, here it is. OCE servers may not be provisioned until beta. So that's currently what's in the wiki for Oceania. So probably not what you wanted to hear, but that is what they currently have. So I wanted to try weaponsmithing. I think I found 5 copper to mine the whole weekend. Yeah, it's just really off right now. Honestly, weaponsmithing, you're gonna need. I would be in a guild. I would just join a guild if you're gonna want to craft. That's just bottom line. You don't have to, and it doesn't have to be a big guild, but I would just join a guild. I would get in and actually have some people funnel you some stuff because it's gonna take you a while on your own. Otherwise, actually, some things you might not even be able to do on your own. Well, I guess you could create alts, but Horzar 1, you pay to get an alpha key. Then you can play alpha. Then you will need to pay a monthly sub. Also, when beta starts, you will have to pay again to buy a beta key. No. No. So if you bought an alpha key, you don't have to buy a beta key. You don't have to buy a release key. There's no box cost. All that you'll have to do at release is to purchase a sub. So this will entirely be sub based and cosmetics. So you will not have to purchase any other keys. If you have an alpha key right now, you will have you get to play in all the subsequent testing phases and release. Yeah, and the current key actually does come with a free first month. So you won't have to pay for that first month right away. Alpha key gets all texting phases, also no subs during testing phases. Yeah. Interestingly, we did get some clarification on this. So once the Alpha 2 server does go to PTR, you will have to pay a sub to have that. This was a question that came up, was like, well, what if, does that mean you could just play Ashes on PTR and not actually pay a sub? The answer to that is no, you will still have to pay a sub. So yeah, so you'll have testing all the way up until whenever releases. Again, I think the earliest releases is 2027. I don't think it's going to be anytime sooner than that. So, yep, $120 covers everything from now to release. Yeah. It's a really good deal right now, actually. It really is. It's the $120. Initially, it was a lot, right? Initially, they came out and said, "Hey, $120. It's just an alpha key. That's all you get. You don't get beta. You don't get beta 2. You don't get access to the game. Just the alpha 2 phase." $120 at that point sound really, really terrible. Really, really terrible. But once people bitched, and a lot of people bitched, a lot of the big content creators bitched, which was frustrating for me because that's what got their attention. It wasn't us. A lot of us that have been here for a while were like, look, that's not a good deal. Like that's insane to do $120 just for Alpha 2 testing. So it was a little frustrating that it took the big streamers to get their attention, but they did. And so they converted that into, yeah, all the alphas, all the betas, plus you get some embers, which are in-game currency, which are game currency, Intrepid currency, and you get the month of gameplay. So it actually turned into a really, really good deal, which I think in turn pissed off a lot of other people. Actually, the people that, if you go back and look at other previous packages, the people that paid for beta 1 access, so people that don't even have access to alpha 2 paid more. Like the ones that had only bought beta 1 really got screwed. That's my opinion. I felt like they really got screwed. I thought Intrepid might throw them a bone and let them in to alpha 2, but so far I don't believe that's happening. So I don't know. That's it is what it is, but it's a decent deal. You also have to keep in mind, again, I really think alpha testing goes for 3 years. So, $120 for 3 years of game testing gameplay is not a bad deal. With every testing phase included, it feels more like starting your annual sub early. I guess maybe. It's nice. Like I said, I really like that I went for the lifetime sub. That's going to help me. I think it'll take 3 years actually to get that back. So I only have beta 2 and 1 key. If I wanted to play in beta 1, I would need to pay $75 more. Yeah, I mean, it just is not a good deal. People who only had beta access just kind of got screwed a little bit. Most people I've seen from inside said it was okay. Oh wait, I'm catching up on your stuff. Keys include beta 1, 2, 3. Then on release, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on all of the chat. So if you want me to answer anything and I miss you, I apologize. Just type it again. Just repeat. You bought the lifetime sub. Yep, I sure did. I did that at the very start of Kickstarter. So I've put my faith and trust in Steven's hands a very long time ago. I might be stupid for that. I don't know, but it is what it is. So I wasted that money a long time ago. Although I will say that I felt like, we've been covering this game for 7 years. As crazy as that sounds, I feel like I've got my money out of it after 7 years. And so, hey, can you post a screenshot, on the creator brief? I want to read it. Oh, that's a good question. You want me to, here, let me just pop my camera for a minute and you can read it while I'm sitting here. I think this is what we're talking about, right? Is the thing behind me? Yeah, the FAQs, that's what's behind me. Steven wrote this. It's hilarious. That's why I have it up here. It's a hilarious FAQ. Was that the Phoenix Initiative? The lifetime sub came before Phoenix Initiative, actually far before. Phoenix Initiative was much more pricey than the lifetime sub. How did you get notified for the PTR tonight? I have this A2, but didn't see anything. So PTR is only for those who had pre-alpha 2 access. So if you only got in during alpha 2 phase 1 or the stress test, you will unfortunately not have PTR access at this point. And so we get notified through Discord. So the easiest way is if you have those channels, you probably don't, and you just will not be able to unfortunately do PTR. But I will tell you all about it when we come in here and chat. So we can't post anything visual anyways. It does help a little bit with the withdrawal. So I won't lie. Being able to log in and do a little bit more, even if it is PTR, is helpful. I feel like corruption will either be bad, so no one will PvP greens, or they'll remove open PvP. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because we always hear so much about the PvE, pure PvE people not liking this game. The more and more I hear, like the sort of pure PvP people that like full loot and all these things, they also aren't really liking this game very much either. Corruption is very real. I mean, it's very punishing. It just is. I actually went corrupted at the very start on Friday. I had to, but it didn't persist. But and I've killed some corrupted people as well. Um, but corruption is no joke. You know, I still think there are going to be people that want to play corrupted as a challenge. So it'll still be a thing. And in fact, I think during testing, I had already spread out, but I'm pretty sure there was someone that kept creating characters and just destroying everyone in the starting area. I don't know what server that was. I don't know how long it lasted for. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. Um, but yeah, corruption, you know, dropping items sucks. And that's what's going to prevent the corrupted. You know, the EXP debt you get from death, I don't think is that bad. That goes away pretty fast at this point. Dropping materials upon death absolutely sucks. That's the hardest part for me. Is PTR only going to be available for pre-alpha 2? For right now, it's pre-alpha 2, because eventually the alpha 2 server will become the PTR server. That won't happen probably till release though. So I don't think they've otherwise they've not said. So we don't really know. As I understand it, when you die, your character gets an experience stat and a stat debuff. Yes, that is correct. Stat debuff is a timed thing that also but will also go away with experience stat going away. You know, I died, gosh, 2 or 3 times yesterday getting to my grind group. So I like right in a row 2 or 3 times as we were kind of getting stood up, and that experience that went away within, I don't know, 10 minutes. Went away fast. So I experienced that. I don't, and you don't de-level. So EverQuest you would de-level, but you don't do that here. So the experience that I think is not so bad, but you know, there will potentially be people that die many times. This is the other thing we've always kind of theory crafted about or debated is what about the people that want to raid? You know, the sort of hardcore raiders. And you know, if you know, we've become so accustomed, like in WoW, at least I have, to, you know, you might wipe 10 times before you actually successfully kill something in a raid. And here you lose a lot if you die 10 times in a row, then it's going to be pretty bad. You know, you're gonna it's gonna take a while. Your stats are going to be dampened a lot, and you know, then that debt starts to add up. So it's a good point, Shipples. You know, yeah, later on it's probably going to feel different too. The experience gain to get from levels 1 through 9, the experience gain needed to level each time is not very is small. Once you get to level 9, all of a sudden you sort of double the amount of experience needed to get to 10, and it just keeps going up from there. So, you know, looking at experience stat as a pure percentage, it's definitely going to hurt more at a higher level than a lower level. So, you know, 6% of 20 is much easier to make up than 6% of 2 million, right? So why is it called debt and not EXP loss though? Because you don't lose your EXP. That's a good question. But you don't lose it. Because you can't de-level. So it's just a debt you have to make back up in order to then continue progressing in your level, if that makes sense. I had more XP debt than gained EXP and had to work that off. Did it with fishing. Yeah. So you can, that's a good point. You can work off EXP debt any way that gains experience. Doesn't have to be combat. It can be crafting, artisanship, can be harvesting, fishing. You know, anything that gives the character experience will help work off that experience debt. Interestingly, that applies to corruption as well. So a corrupted player does not necessarily have to go work off their corruption through killing things. They could just go craft stuff. We don't know yet. You know, does crafting take more time than killing stuff? We don't know. But Basca, all I care about right now is that if the same level of DDoS happens next weekend, they are prepared. I hope so. Yeah, they looked pretty bad Sunday. So you're still losing the XP to debt. Yeah, I don't know. That's something that, yeah, gosh, I wish Planendorf was still here. We could ask him. Either way, you have to make it up. So saw a comment that I wanted to. Oh, people keep confusing PKing with PvPing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, and griefing too. You know, this is a game that's set up that if you're out harvesting and someone witnesses you harvest a rare mining node, you might become you might become content for that person. They might try to PvP you so that they can take whatever you just harvested. That is just, for better or worse, a part of what Ashes of Creation is. And I think that's kind of what you're referring to, Lulu. So that's not necessarily griefing. That's just a part of how they're building in their PvP. That is player killing, but I think the bigger thing is just griefing versus PvP. Um, oh, sorry, I'm still catching up. I took a screenshot. Put your cam back on. Okay. Let's see. Braver of Worlds gang. Yes, that's where a lot of us started for sure. Um, Braver of Worlds. We're having this debate now. Is that the PK and PvP? But that rare node can be destroyed. Do you think they can handle the influx of players on November 8th, or will they add realms? That's a good question. We've talked about that even honestly um, from net for just the start of phase 1, because we saw a lot more people in phase 1 than we've ever seen. I don't know that they will, and here's my rationale. Um, they also have to plan for how many people drop off. Um, and they've made it pretty clear that they would rather have a prolonged queue system than spin up new servers if possible. And I think that all comes down to not wanting to have to try to merge things later. You know, one, just merging nodes could be complicated. Two, I don't know that they have the tech for that. You know, I don't know that they even have it set up to where they can merge stuff. I don't know that that's ever been a question asked of Steven at this point. So, you know, what we have seen pre-alpha 2 testing, um, you know, really even to some of the stuff this weekend, is that players just drop off. They drop off fairly fast. Part of that is because we just don't have a lot of content. There's not a lot to do. You know, you have a grindy game that takes 100 hours to get to 25. Crafting, gathering, and processing are also grindy, and there's just not a lot. There's not a lot of quests, not a lot of events. Some of those that are in are buggy, and so I think you see a lot of people just dropping off. And so I think I don't know that they open up servers. They will if they have to. They have told us that they will if they have to. Um, but I don't think they will unless they're just really really have to. I don't think the networking stuff we saw this weekend, I don't think had anything to do with not having enough servers, if that makes sense. Oh God, zombies! Hello, how's it going? PKing is literally murdering someone who doesn't fight back. PvP is fighting someone who fights back. Well, that's true. Well, I mean, but I guess I don't want to get into that with you. I don't want to get into that with you right now. It's too late. That's the difference in this system and then repetitive PKing is griefing. I guess, but if you're PKing to get someone's resources, I mean, that's just PKing, right? That's not necessarily griefing. Griefing would be camping someone for prolonged periods of time so they can't play. That is more what I think of when I think of griefing. Well, like some said, it's just weird wording that makes it seem better. That's fine though. I think PVX is a marketing term myself. Just my own belief. I think PVX is just a very pretty way to it's a very way it's a way to try to make PvP sound more palatable and more fun to PvEers. That's where I think they get PVX from. Basca, if they don't add at least one realm per region, they're trolling. Again, I don't know that what we saw was really, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I really don't think they have the ability. I think if they have an open, if they have to, I think if they open a realm and then they lose players, I don't know that they have a way to merge that. I think that they just have to close that realm, which they're not, you know, how pissed off would people be if they spent 100 hours into leveling and then their server's going away? We have, and it's pretty belligerently anti-server merge. I don't think he's going to be willing to expand servers or over expanding queues. Yeah, that's yeah. I think they're just going to let us sit in the queue. Is No Wars in? No, not yet. Hopefully we'll be, but I don't think it is. I've not seen anyone declare those. Actually, no, because what we had happen on Saturday night. So I'm a part of Genesis on Vira or Vira VYRA. FYI, if you are on Vira, if you're an NA player or even a EU player on Vira, hit me up as Phantom X, FANTMX. I will heal you if I have time. But I am part of Genesis on Vira, and our guild leader is actually mayor of Winstead, and Jamie Chaos's guild is their mayors of Miraleth. They actually pulled Firebrand, the big dragon. They trained him to Winstead Saturday night, and that was their form of Node Wars. So no wars are not yet in. So hello, Mr. Boomer. Nope, that's not me. I'm not Mr. Boomer, not yet, anyways. Won't be too fucking long. Hopefully the game comes out before I'm a boomer. But good news is probably a month or two down the line, then probably won't be a queue. Oh, I think you see people drop off within a couple of weeks. I don't know about months. Pre-alpha 2, as an example, we started off with a lot of people, and almost within it quickly went down, very quickly. Very quickly we lost people in pre-alpha 2. So I would expect that that will happen here as well. Sure, if the server population drops, then absolutely, but it'd be pretty bad to have to deal with the queues up until December, or at worst May. Yeah. Do we have access to the FAQ behind me? No, that's a content creator FAQ that was sent to us. We are allowed to share it. That's why it's behind me. I was going to go over it a little bit and show folks, but I've been too busy talking. So, yeah. So, but this FAQ was created by Steven. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the terms that are used are sort of trolley terms that have been used during their streams. So I just like reading them. I was there for that and part of the group that gave Winstead our gift of Mayor Firebrand. So you were there, you were pulling them. I was watching it on Discord, or sorry, on Twitch. I was not in game. So Saturday and Sunday this week, I started streaming at like 5:30 a.m. my time. I streamed for a while, but yeah, I was burnt out for Saturday night. So, but I was watching it. So I'll be on Lyneth once first wave drops. So I'll be on Vira. So I actually did create a mage on Lyneth, but that was only because our server went down for 45 minutes on Saturday. All right, Phantom King, random question. What do you think will happen Friday when Asmon streams AOC? Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I think he'll hate it, to be blunt. You know, I'll be curious to see. Well, I guess what might sway that opinion is if he reacts to Narc's video. You know, he tends to like to react to Narc's video. So, you know, I don't know if that helps soften the blow a little bit, but I don't think he'll like it. I think I think he'll be like soda popping and just rage quit. So I don't know. You know, could he like it and bring in a lot more people? I guess. Well, they wouldn't come in Friday because if they don't already have a key, they wouldn't be until November 8th anyways. You know, so if he likes it, I think they can prepare to have a lot more people on November 8th. But you know, it really probably won't affect server pops. Kind of in the same way that really, you know, when Thor streamed Sunday, I don't know that it changed a lot of the server structure because again, most, you know, if his viewers didn't already have a key, they couldn't have gotten in. So, and he loved it. He liked it, obviously. Well, Osman will be a bit more chill. Maybe. I think I saw like a Reddit post of his though that kind of indicated that might not be the case. Um, I can see him liking it. He has a strong old school lean. You know what? I like to talk about what when we say this is Ashes is old school, what are we talking about? Sometimes I'm not sure what we're talking about when we say Ashes is old school. Because when I hear old school, I immediately think that should be left in the old. It's old school because it's old. It needs to be left behind. But I feel like a lot of people use old school a little bit differently in conversation. And how you make me Google it. The roaches already have keys. Yeah, it's not going to affect servers if he pops on Friday. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know that he'll like it. I don't think that Asman is the target population for this. Is my opinion. Whether or not that includes his viewers, I don't know. I think he has a wide range of viewers. So there are actually some gaming conversations of his that I agree with. You know, he says some things in the gaming world that I actually agree with. Almost everything else, I think he's an idiot at times. But I think the servers will suffer. But I hope he quits too. Not immediately though, Basca. They might November 8th, but not right away. Corruption, no hand holding. Jane Signal, hello. It has been actually. Wait, it has been a long while since we have talked to you. I'm looking back through your chats. What have you been? Am I crazy? Well, I'm looking at 2021 on previous chats. Anyways, thanks for hanging up or hanging up. Thanks for hanging out. Not don't hang up. We're still going. Um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens when Asman joins in. He will, I'm sure, but because part of me, I'm curious whether this whole DDoS thing Sunday impacts their servers at all. Not only because you know how much time are they going to have to spend trying to prepare better for Friday and DDoS versus just working purely on their servers. So, like I said, I did the PTR tonight. Did not really notice much improvement, to be blunt. So, he liked the Alpha 1. Yeah, but I feel like Alpha 2 is very different than Alpha 1 right now. But I mean, hopefully I'm wrong. I guess I don't know. I honestly do hope I'm wrong because Ashes needs as many players as it can get, and you know I do think that Ashes is somewhat of a niche game potentially. So it needs a lot of people, a lot of eyes. I'm curious how did Diggs like this weekend? Um, Diggs had almost nothing to say yesterday, so that should be enough. That should tell you enough on Ashen Forge. Um, I think he said he played for like an hour. He actually created a fighter, which surprised the shit out of me. I don't know. I didn't expect Diggs to create a fighter. I thought he'd make a bard, but he created a fighter, and he did not get very far in leveling. So I think he played. He said he played an hour or something like that. But um, yeah, he played at least though, right? He did play. Uh, he did play. So yeah, there's death penalties. Um, yeah, Diggs stopped caring about Ashes quite some time ago. I don't know if he quit caring, but um, you know, he gets on his soapbox and he stays with it. So, who would want to die multiple times? Does it stack? Yes, it does. It adds up. So your stat dampening can get progressively worse. At this point, he is actively not caring about it. Yeah, I mean, he does also have a lot of other games to play. Um, his demeanor has definitely changed recently. I think that's because it's here, right? I think it's one thing. This is sort of like Narc, right? It's one thing to sort of project and complain and bitch about something that's like this nebulous thought, right? That's not actually in existence. Like I feel like it's easier to do that and takes less energy and it's just easier to bitch and complain about something that doesn't really exist. But now that it's here, now that the game is actually playable, play testable, I think that changes your mindset a little bit. And so, yeah, I agree. That's probably part of why now his response is, well, I'm playing Fortnite Lego Fortnite, or I'm playing Nightingale or something. I have all these other games to play. Um, but yeah, he did not hit me up for a group over the weekend. But again, I also played at really, really weird times. So um, was the alpha only this weekend? It's every weekend. Cabbage salesman, I love your name, by the way. Do you actually, please say you actually sell cabbage? Is that your job? I want to know that that's your job, please. The alpha is Friday, Saturday. So I'll step back. Um, Rip if only. So phase one is Friday, Saturday, Sundays. So we will have the servers back up on Friday. Once we get to phase two, it's 5 days a week. Phase two starts December 20th, supposedly. Once we get to phase three, which is supposedly May of 2025, you'll have a 24/7 server. So right now it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What's up, Grumpy Guy? I just realized someone, Grumpy, they took a clip. I think it was Steven mentioning you during our interview. I just saw that the other day. He said Grumpy Guy and answered a question or something you had. So look at y'all answering questions for me in chat. Um, I'd imagine it's a reference to Avatar. Yeah. I'd rather just actually be a cabbage salesman. I made it for H1Z1 because I wanted to be a salesman. Forgot about the Avatar salesman till after. Cabbages will not forgive you. He's a farmer. Yeah, yeah. Vasca, I wish I knew more about protecting. I'm trying to get everyone on YouTube too. I promise I'm not ignoring you. Luckily, streamer.bot is picking up your chats. I wish I knew more about protecting against DDoS. I only know how to do some basic. Yeah. Yeah, that's not something I know much about either. I do tend to try to educate myself on stuff like that, but I don't know. H1Z1, is that what? Yeah, you knew that name was going to be mentioned, Jane Signal. That's why you're here chatting with us. H1Z1 was so long ago. I can switch to Twitch. I just like the ads. Yeah, I know. I get it. When we go live on YouTube, I actually don't monetize it. So it is pretty much ad free on YouTube. But we on Twitch, I can't get rid of ads. I have it set down to only 30 minutes every. No, it's 30 seconds every hour. So we do try to reduce things. All right, Spellcaster, have a good one. I'm going to be on here pretty much. Try to be here late night for an hour or two every night this week up until Friday if we can. So I was featured by SOE, my fan art. That's even an old name, SOE. How long's it been since we had an SOE? When did all that shit happen? 2017, 2018? Was that about the time that it became Daybreak? I don't remember. Because was it 2014 is when they announced EverQuest and Landmark, right? And I feel like we were playing it in 2016. And then so things would have had to gone to shit like 2017, 2018. I don't remember now. It's been a while though. Twitter is the new MMO. Actually, there's some interesting discussions out there, and theories that I tend to agree with, or that MMORPGs were the original social media. And I actually think there's some truth to that when you really look back at it, right? When you step back and think about what made MMORPGs so different and so new, and so addictive. I mean, it was the original social media. So I still remember getting on EverQuest and just thinking that I'm playing with these motherfuckers from all over the world. It was like, Jesus, this is crazy. Like here I am, an 17-year-old kid sitting in fucking Indiana playing with who knows what, who knows where. Really starts to open you up to different people, which is pretty fucking cool actually. I like to get to know people. I like to know people from all different worlds and areas. You learn a lot more about yourself when you learn a lot more about other people. So for Ashes to be big, it needs to be social. Yeah, that's true. But then that leads to an interesting discussion. If Ashes needs to have social gameplay to be successful, whose responsibility is it to make that social connection easy to happen? Is it on the players? Is it on the players to get into global chat and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a group," or is it on the responsibility of developers to actually put in a system that makes it easier to connect with other people? I don't know if there's a great answer to that, and I'm also not saying that they should put in like a group finder or something, but um, right now, right now it's not easy to necessarily find groups to play with in Ashes unless you just start randomly asking people. I played with the entire world from Ukraine, and that was after I had played at a PC cafe that led me to a 15 years long friendship with several cool dudes. Yeah, yeah. MMOs were just different. Like, I also think that's part of why when you see, I don't buy this whole thought or idea that the MMORPG genre is dying. You know, I think you can step back right now and look around and see a lot of really cool fucking ideas coming about, right? Are they here? Not, no. But, you know, there's some pretty cool ideas out there that are being worked on. So I actually don't think that the genre is dead. I think what's happened is if it is the original social media, we just have better social media. So people are less interested in connecting in a game, I think, than they are on like Twitter or on Instagram or something. And so it becomes much more about my gameplay session than whether I interacted with someone else. I don't know if that makes sense, but here in Indiana, bearded bullets. Here in Indiana, I think cornfields were the original social media. Well, I'm glad you're glad to meet another person from Indiana. I spent a lot. I spent my first 20 shit. I don't even know 24 years in Indiana. So nice flat state, at least the northern side. I always thought I'd live in Indianapolis, but Totamo, hello to you. Thanks for popping in and joining us. We're all just sitting here talking shit about Ashes of Creation and MMORPGs in general. I keep wanting to get back to this FAQ, and I keep just continuing to talk about other shit. So, interesting idea. The message board in town where you could put your name. Oh no, yeah, that's not a bad idea. That's sort of re-skinning, sort of a group finding way that puts a little bit more onus on the player. Selvorn, I felt like MMOs were always not niche and not super popular until 2004 with WoW. Yeah, WoW is that breaking of the mold. Arctic Rat King, you're from Indiana too? We got a couple people from Indiana in here. That's cool. Oh, they were niche. Um, yeah, well, yeah, I guess by today's terms. I think UO was probably niche. EverQuest was really the first one to break that barrier down. I feel like EverQuest got a lot of different people in it. But yeah, WoW definitely opened it up to others for sure. You know, WoW made it much more accessible, much more easier to understand, much more easier to play and to do things. So, um, Nolo, hello to you. Thanks for joining with us. Always love seeing first messages, especially when they're hellos. So you're still living in Indiana. That's cool. I go back from time to time. I'm not that far away though. Um, I've never really played MMOs, but I'm really excited about this game. I had a great time this weekend when I could get in. You're one of the interesting folks that I think, you know, we've seen a lot of that. We've actually heard of a lot of people that are not generally going to play MMOs, but for some reason Ashes has pulled them in, which I think has been very interesting. Um, I actually think the biggest group that will probably make Ashes successful are going to be the younger players. So I think it's potentially going to bring in a lot of the younger generation. You know, most of your original MMORPG players are getting older, so um, I think RuneScape was the first MMO I played before I got into WoW. I never really did much of RuneScape. I have some, but um, not a ton. I spent my time, gosh, I did EverQuest from 99 to 2004, and then EverQuest 2 from like 2004 to 2005, which I actually think was the superior game, and then to WoW. And then WoW, I started at like 2005 and played that for years. but I stopped, I think, around Cataclysms when I stopped with WoW. Um, is Ashes a new universe or is it based on a book? No, it's all out of Stephen Sharif's head. They do not have any sort of IP with it right now. It's actually based off of a Pathfinder campaign that Stephen Sharif made and has run for a while. You can actually go to some of their channels, and for the past several extra lives, they've done a Pathfinder campaign that Stephen DMs that's in the world of Vera. So that's where a lot of this started. Now they obviously have they brought in a shit ton more writers, a lot of more lore people that have sort of built on his ideas, but that's where the original idea came from. So straight out of his head. I think they do have intent to, or he has intent to potentially make it into more than just an MMORPG. Books and movies and all that stuff. That sort of Star Citizen approach. Well, I'm not really a younger player, but the sheer scope of the game is exciting. Yeah. Yeah, it's a super, super complex game when you start looking at how systems interact with each other. So, um, really happy you're chatting about Ashes tonight. It's giving me a fix. Yeah, we were talking about right at the start of this, like, what is everyone's withdrawal level right now? Where is everyone? I think everyone felt that, and that's why I say when that's your first question, like when you wake up in the morning and you're like, shit, I really wish I could play this game. I think that means Intrepid did pretty well this weekend. So, what happened to today's PTR? It was up. It was up for about 3 hours. It was initially a guided portion that led to just some free time in the world. All of it was testing networking, so they were trying to update the networking components. So I did not notice much of a change in my networking with it for what it's worth. It seemed to be the same. I still had the same server issues, server boundary issues and stuff that they were trying to fix. So, hello, yesterday on the podcast, I asked the reason why were the devs running the alpha build alongside the beta build? You guys didn't have a chance to answer, so can you answer that tonight? In my mind, a beta is just a more developed alpha. So I'm curious about it. It's because it's a good question. It's because they intend so when he says that, the Alpha 2 servers that we're on right now, the intent is that those will persist and eventually become the PTR. So once we have a live ops game, that the Alpha server will be the PTR. And so because of that, it will just run alongside of the betas, because they're just not going to bring it down. Well, they'll probably bring it down from times. The PTR is not up 24/7. Like today's PTR was from I think 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. my time. There's only about 3 hours, so but that's why they say that. Um, so and not everyone will have access to it either, right? So if someone only has a beta key, or a beta 2 key, then they're not going to be in the Alpha 2 server. So. I got to play in the NDA pre-Alpha 2 this weekend, and this weekend, I've heard a lot of people say they love the size of the world currently. I feel like I'm the only one that wants it to be much larger. No, you're not. I actually agree. I keep getting told that the current size of the Riverlands is the size of all of New World, but I've not been able to find where people are getting that comparison from. I don't know if that's just made up in someone's mind, or if there's actually like been a comparison done, because the closest thing I can find is someone that ran around the outsides, the perimeter of both worlds of Riverlands and the New World, and they actually their time they had much more time at New World. It is larger. Riverlands is not small, but um, I think we're not seeing 100% of Riverlands either, so it will get bigger with time. And you also have to remember, it's just one of 18 biomes. So, number one, Riverlands is not its full size yet. Number two, you got 17 more of these things to be built. So the world will feel pretty huge. They did increase the size of the world a couple of years ago, but when you really break down what they increased, it was the ocean. The size of the ocean changed much more so than the actual like physical land portion. Oh, you actually looked. I appreciate you. Number 1 hour, 2 minutes, 35 seconds of the live stream. Alpha 2 roadmap. Okay, I'll take a peek at it. Um, yeah, I mean, I always take it. You know, when I always take what Steven says with a little bit of a grain of salt too. He always says things in a way that he has a way out. So what I heard about the comparison is that it was comparable or larger to than New World at launch. Yeah, I mean that's what I keep hearing, but I don't know where people get that from. I don't know if it's actually been compared. I don't know if it's because I don't know that. I know Steven said we have 55 square kilometers of land right now, but we also have, we also have two other uh, areas attached to us. So I don't know. I don't know where they got that number from. Um, Even during the betas, alpha bill will be slightly ahead. Yeah, because it'll be PTR. So it's going to be your buggy shit. I felt that way with Fallout 4. Every morning I woke up, threw myself at the computer. Same with WoW back in the day. Yeah, I was like that with WoW for sure. EverQuest too as well, and EverQuest. Actually, I woke up many times in middle of the night to play EverQuest because I knew the respawn of something was going to be in the middle of the night. I think that tells you when you're really onto something, right? When you're planning your sleep around when you know things are going to pop up on a server. Okay, so it becomes a test environment before yes, yeah, that's what it will be. It'll be the PTR, the Alpha 2 server will eventually. I think it's about movement speed relative to the size of the world. Yeah, that's probably true. Thor mentioned something about 45 minutes to travel on horseback from one zone to the other, which I love. Love a big world. It is big. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not big. I just don't know where that comparison to New World came from. But it is big. And again, keep in mind we have only a portion of one of the biomes, and there's 17 other biomes to go with it. What I heard about the comparison is that it's comparable. Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard from a few places. Oh, by the way, fan, what's your opinion on Steven's statement about the running speeds during the map enlargement stream? Because, oh boy, that shit was way off. Oh, I'm going to have to go back and jog my memory. That's when he was reading off a bunch of numbers, right? Oh, wait, did you want to say some more? He said we'd clear the vertical continent in 50 minutes. Well, now one biome is that. Yeah, I feel like that was. I feel like he was reading stuff and it wasn't. I feel like he had a table in front of him that somebody fucked up. So, I don't know. Because I think he even stuttered a couple times in that stream. That stream was a long time ago. The size between the two continents looks similar in width to the Riverlands, and I can see across the Riverlands with some height, and also travel across it in 20 minutes. Do others observe this as well? Yeah, but I do think some of that world size. I think it's going to change a little bit as they add everything on. I do love that you can go anywhere you can see. That's great. So. For those of you just sort of joining in, behind me is the FAQ that Steven had created for content creators to send out for Alpha 2 or Alpha 2 Phase 1 spot testing. We do have permission to share this. Steven created this, so it is an FAQ that he made for us to help communicate to you um, kind of why things are in the state they're in. And I think it's just hilarious. So I like to share it. You can read it yourself, but I like the questions. I still think a lot of this came from trolls. These are things that they probably wrote down that people would put in their chat when they were doing live streams. My favorite one is the second to last, which is the one that says "This runs like ass." I want that on a T-shirt. I want that on a T-shirt or hat. This runs like ass. But you can see here. This is straight from Steven, kind of what um, what the goals of phase 1 are. I should show you the rest too. It's up here. The Alpha 2 content creator brief. Um, Love Steven. Steven's hilarious. Key Drift, what's up? Yo, I'm new to this. What is this about? Are you talking about the FAQ I just had up or just Ashes of Creation in general? Not sure what you're talking about. But yeah, you do not have this. This FAQ is not actually a public linkable document, but so I just like to show that. I'm gonna pop this off now though. The map behind me should work now. I kept getting people doing the logo show and the map as well. Let me check something real quick. All right, let's see. Where is the map? Let's see if this actually works. I didn't test it beforehand. Oh, there it went. It worked. Oh, it covered my face. Did not mean for that to happen. Let's change that. You need to see my ugly ass face. So you can actually move this map around. So Ashes of Creation in general. So Ashes of Creation is an MMORPG that has been in development since about 2016, 2017. A lot of the sort of games that it's based off are going to be your Arcade, Lineage 2, BDO kind of things. It's an MMORPG. What people like to say goes back to old school, which essentially I think when people say old school, they really mean it just takes groups. You actually have to play with other people. But it is now in its Alpha 2 testing. We just had Alpha 2 Phase 1 start on Friday. And so we've spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday streaming. Here we are on Monday with nothing to play, and we're all very sad. So we're all just commiserating together and talking about the wonderful time we had over the weekend while we wait for Friday to get here so that we can test again. That's essentially where we're at. Sounds hype. We'll have a large map, very large map, actually. That's what we were just talking about. So right now we only have access to one area called Riverlands, and even that area is not fully completed yet. We do technically have some of 2 other biomes, but they're not. They're just basically for PvP. There's going to be 18 total biomes, so it's going to be a very large world. I don't remember the total. I don't remember the total size of the world. Let me see if I can get on Wikipedia or the Ashes wiki real quick and see about world size to give you just an idea in sort of square kilometers what the size of the world is. Look at you, Ludaloo. You got it to move. 1,200 square kilometers. That's the total world. So you can Google that and compare it to some other games you've played. It's pretty big. So it's rather large, actually. But, you know, it's a long ways away, is how I'll put it. Sujoma D's nuts. All right, we're going to move it away from Sujoma if you're going to talk about your nuts. So, do you know if they have finished other biomes or simply not? So I don't have any in sort of I don't have any like insider information. I'm sure they're working on other things. You know, they have their company Intrepid started largely with artists first. So I'm sure they have other stuff that they've started. I know there are some people that are out there that will think that, you know, they have a dozen biomes ready to go and they're just testing things, um, you know, initially with one, and then they're going to surprise us and add. I don't think that's the case. I don't think there's any truth to that. I don't think they have a dozen biomes waiting to go. So I think we just are going to have to wait. Um, you know, I think when you look at like the desert and the tropic areas, you know, I think if they had content ready for those, they would have already put it in, and we don't have content for those. So it's just going to be time. This is where we did ask Steven, though, you know, would you ever release the game with just one continent and save the other continent for later? I think that's an interesting question. So I wonder what unique biomes they're going to have. Hold up, I can actually say them all here in a minute if I go to the wiki. Is it in beta? If so, how do I join? No. So Keydrift, it is currently in Alpha 2 Phase 1. Right now, the earliest you could get into Alpha 2 Phase 1 is November 8th, and that is if you buy a key now. Come Friday, come Saturday, if you do not have a key, then you will not be able to get in until December 20th at the earliest. So I would just, you got some time. I would just take a look at it and see if it's $120. You get access to Alpha 2, Beta 1, Beta 2. You get a month of game time and you get some embers. So it's actually not a bad deal. I personally experienced a lot of the Riverlands in my limited testing time. So if you have any questions, yeah, ask away. From what the devs said, they have been building assets from ground up. So as things come together, it's much easier and faster to ramp up production. Yeah, I know. They stand their systems up and it supposedly makes things faster, but still a lot of content, still a lot of work. Didn't they recently say they don't, that they just have the framework so that when they do want to stand, I think you're accurate there. Yeah. Reluctant. I love your name. Reluctant Cow. How did you get your name? Do you have like a backstory? Do you have a backstory to your name? Because I want to know what it is. Why you are a reluctant cow. The Will of Texas. Oh my goodness, we're getting some good names in here. I also want to know what your origin story is. The Will of Texas. Good to have you in. We're gonna probably go for about another 25 minutes. When does the completed game release? That is a great question. No one knows. Gosh, I'm trying to think of how best to answer this. What's up, Fireplay123? I've seen you. I've seen you streaming some. Ashes of Creation. Yeah, I've actually watched you a little bit. Haven't had a chance to raid you yet, but yeah, I've been watching you some. So back to the question of when does the completed game release? No one knows. So right now, yeah, 20XX. Perfect answer. Right now, they've been in development since late 2016, early 2017. I think I will personally tell you this is their third game. They started off with a game that what they called APOC, Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, and they spent some time on that. They took a lot of shit for doing that. It was essentially a battle royal. And I think it was an attempt to make a little bit of side money with some of the development, and it just really, really went south. They've actually not used, as far as I know, they've not used anything from that. No assets, no content. Even the networking that they were testing was thrown out. So they then moved, to we've had Alpha 1, which was 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. That was in Unreal 4. And so Alpha 2 is in Unreal 5. So 3 years ago, they actually made the decision to upgrade to, wow, my monitors are going janky again. And I do actually have Ashes of Creation open up. I don't know what's going on with all this, but my video card has been fucked with quite a bit. So they switched over to Unreal 5 3 years ago, and that's where I say they've made a third game. I think Unreal 5, this is an opinion, not a fact, but I think Unreal 5, they kind of had to do it. I think it was a pretty big reset, actually, once they decided to go to Unreal 5, which I think was a good decision long term, considering how long this game has been in development. But I think that's kind of another do-over. So my opinion is that the earliest this game will be out is in 2027. That's my opinion. Some people might tell you 2 years. Some people might tell you 2030. I think 2027 is a more accurate representation. Which, by the way, if it does go to 2027, that means that I will have been covering this game for 10 years. And that's kind of sad, actually. I don't know if that's sad or good or bad or what, but a decade covering a game that hasn't existed is pretty a little bit fucked up, I think. But it's been fun though. Cozy Chan, what's up? How are you doing? Did I say your name right? I always feel like I don't say people's names right. Fireplay123. It's an amazing game. Can't wait for the weekend. Love the videos, by the way. I appreciate that. Kept me updated the last few months. Yeah, I appreciate that. Again, for those in chat, Fireplay123 has been streaming some Ashes over the weekend, so definitely check out their channel. If they delay it more than that, they'll encounter the same issue with. We did ask Steven. So when I keep saying we asked Steven, for those of you new to us, we have the Ashen Forge. Ashen Forge is on Sundays. We actually had our show last night, and 2 Sundays ago, we had Steven Sharif actually joined us for an interview. Well, not really an interview, just more of a chat talk. And we actually did ask him that, whether or not kind of what their plan would be for upgrading Unreal further. He said that they don't intend to go up over like a full like Unreal 5 to Unreal 6. That they do not plan to do that. They'll still go up some sub, 5.4, 5.5, or sorry, 5.4, 5.5, that sort of stuff, but not a whole, not Unreal 6. Of course, I don't know that he said that they would go to Unreal 5 either, but I'm always on the AOC 2027 train, Q4. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just more realistic. I'm hoping for the end of 2026, but 2027 probably be more realistic. Yeah, I just think content. So we also have very big systems that just aren't in, right? Like I know personally for me, I joined Kickstarter so long ago because of nodes, as an example. I've been tired of playing in static worlds. They presented nodes in a way that I thought sounded really good. I'm also not a huge PvP person. I'm not opposed to PvP. Um, actually, a couple of times on my streams this weekend, I killed some people, but for fun. But I've never been like a huge PvP person, but I put up with it for nodes. But where I'm going with that is nodes are still not stood up either, right? So we don't have nodes completely. We don't have secondary augments. We don't have all the classes. We don't have all the races. We don't have. There's a lot of stuff that's just missing right now. So it's not necessarily even just all the content that has to get created, but just the systems that aren't done yet. That's why I say 2027. Which pack did you get? Oh, Kickstarter. So I was Braver. Is it Braver Worlds? I went with the lifetime sub initially. I've subsequently upgraded to PI. So I don't remember which one's PI, but Phoenix Initiative. Which node are you choosing to be a citizen? So I'm on Vyra, Vyra. I always say if anybody else is on Vyra, I'm a cleric. I'm happy to heal you. Just hit me up if you see me. I'm in Genesis Guild. So Genesis. Oh, you are on. Yeah, I think a lot of content creators went to Vyra. So I belong to Genesis, and Rive is mayor of Winstead. So that is where we are currently. And actually, I think I saw. I'm not sure. I'm missing chats. Because I saw one. Yes, hi, it's your guildie, Eliza. It's great to see you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun Sunday. Can't wait till next weekend. I'm either. I want to go back to that grind spot, although I have a feeling a lot of people will pass me by now. But I don't remember what is the level difference that we can actually group together. Does anybody know? I don't remember that off the top of my head. Like our level range to where we can still do content together. All of the Australians said together. Yeah, there's a lot of basically all the content creators I know are on Vyra. We stayed away from Resna. Resna has historically been the sweaty guild server, so we intentionally decided not to do Resna, and I think it's turned out that way. I think that I'm pretty sure that's where Envious and Nova Ordum are, um, but yeah, we're hanging out in Vyra. December will definitely tell us how far away from release Intrepidar if they somehow manage to meet the date and release a ton of content by that time. We're way closer than we think. Yeah, I think that's a dream. I don't know what you've been smoking, Ludaloo, but everyone is on Vyra. It feels that way, but but at the same time, I feel like we had one of the better servers to work with. So, meaning that I don't know that we have a lot of people on our server. So funny that Lloyd wasn't sure if Vyra would have enough people Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people on there. 10% from 13. Okay, so we can still. I mean, I'm still level 11. So Sunday, because when I got off Sunday, the DDoSing started not long after. So I think I'm like 10, maybe 15% into to 11. But that was crazy grind. So for those of you who aren't past level like 8 or haven't played yet, your first 8 levels go pretty fast, but once you get to level 9, the amount of experience it takes to go up each level just gets really, really high. That's why I say you can level up as solo if you want. I think you can do that, but it's going to take you a very, very, very long time. You need to just get into a group that runs really really good content. We had an 8-person group Sunday that went extremely well. Um, we got a lot of experience. I was there with y'all for like 4.5 hours, I think, and got a full 2 levels. So all of 9, all of 10. So it went really, really fast. 8 levels, that's a penumbra. That's good to know. Yeah. So all right. So we'll have plenty of range to play with other folks still. Um, Hi again, Theoryforge cleric question. Would you define an cleric in its current state as more of a paladin style healer with some DPS or more of a priest? Love your A2. I appreciate that. That's a good question. I would say it's more of a priest right now. It would be my opinion. Um, but that's just with what we have right now. So we only have 25 levels. You know, there are some damage spells. Um, but not a ton yet. I did try to create my own Templar during Node Wars, but that took a lot of so I took on all of the DPS spells. The cleric is a nuke. Yeah, it's why I don't feel like it's a paladin so much right now. When I think of paladin, I think of maybe some light spells, but more so a lot of melee damage. Um, it's possible right now, but it's not built. You have to do your own sort of specific build to do that. I've asked Planendorf if they would put in some melee skills for the priest, which I think would then put you more in, or a cleric, which would put you more in line with like a paladin. They've said they'd look at it, but I was not given a yes. So petition to bring back castigation. Yeah, everyone does occasionally ask where that comes from or where that went. If I don't get into roars in the boys group this Friday, I'll try pushing 10 solo. No, get in with them or hit me up. Unless I'm in a Genesis group, then we'll probably just be a guild group. But if I'm not, I grouped with a lot of different people this weekend, a lot of different groups. So actually, one of our groups, I was in an 8-man group, and we had 4 clerics, 2 bards, a ranger, and a mage, and that combination sounds really, really fucked up. But let me tell you, it worked. It worked very well. So it's kind of crazy. How are the pocket dungeons going to work once the entire populace gets to the level of content? Sounds like a nightmare. That's what they want. They want you fighting for it. Steven wants you to cut each other's throats. Not literally, but figuratively. When the mentor system is in, there'll be no limit, I think. It'll de-level. Yeah, I mean, once they get that in. But that's another one of those systems like that we look for, but it's nowhere near being in. Nodes are the bait, but Steven is the hook and the reel. Yeah, that's true. He's good at pulling people in. He is good at that. Very good at that. Awesome, great to hear. I'm definitely hyped. Yeah, the cleric is a lot of fucking fun, man. The cleric, I had so much fun with the cleric. I was having so much fun that everybody was. I think I genuinely surprised a lot of people that have watched us for a while. I think I genuinely surprised them with how many 4-letter words I was using. Like even Neuro, who's now known me for 10 years, was like, what's going on? Like, what is this Phantom X After Dark? Like, what's going on? It's like, fuck if I know. I'm just having fun, man. 1,000 plus people fighting over 4 locations. That's a little excessive, though, isn't it? I mean, it's a fair point, but we also would expect other dungeons to be added in, right? Over time. But yeah, they do want friction for sure. Surgeon General, we should meet up on Friday. Yeah, I mean, if I'm in game, just hit me up. I'm oh, Tangent. Thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. How's it going? Literally, what Angent? What did you wave to Angent? Come on now, it's Tangent. Appreciate you raiding us. Who's watching another streamer doing it? Yeah. But yeah, Cleric has so many healing options. Those instant heals are crazy. Yeah, the cleric. So what I ended up doing with our group Sunday, well, with really most of them, um, I've been largely using the scepter and shield, but I actually have really started to use the book, the spell book. I guess you could use the wand too, but um, what I've ended up doing was actually using the spell book on auto attack, and otherwise usually just rotating through the instant spot heals, and then the ground one. I always forget the name of it. It's like Holy Flare or something. There's a ground heal that I throw down at wherever the tank is, and then just bring up everyone in that group. Yeah, but you have a lot of AOE spells. You have a lot of single target spells. The cleric just feels really good right now. Just I'm happy with it. Just feels really really good. Right on, you are the foundation mesh. I appreciate that, Tangent. We've been doing this a long time. We've been doing this a long time. But yeah, the cleric is my thing. Cleric is what I've always wanted to main. So I will again combine cleric with fighter once we get secondaries and be a Templar. But yeah, the book is fun. So the book just adds in some DPS while I'm sitting there, and you're at range, so you don't have to worry so much about healing yourself. Versus if you're up there with the scepter, you're going to take some shots. So that's just become my sort of my build at this point. Divine protection with the silence, the damage mitigation and magic, super nice. Yeah. They also they have some good CC type stuff too. The problem right now is if you try to spec into more of a melee type healer, which is again the path that I took in Node Wars. You do have to end up giving up a fair amount of you have to have some CC stuff to do that. So yes, Divine Flare. Yes, is that what I said? That's I love that spell. They initially had mentioned a stock exchange would be added to the game. Is that still in the roadmap? So the roadmap is actually missing a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is not on the roadmap, which again we asked Steven about, and it sounds like a lot of it's maybe just an oversight, but um, someone else asked him about the stock exchange, and I'm trying to remember if it was Vladis or if it was Nice and no one. They still have plans for it, but it's nowhere near like into. I don't think they've actually. He did say they've not started any kind of actual work on it beyond just sort of theoretical stuff, I think is what he said. Can you spec your cleric to be hot focused like a druid? No, not really. Not so much. I'm making sure I'm not making this up in my head. No, it does not feel like a druid healer right now. Will there be a different spawning place depending on? Yes. So they are adding in more. Right now we just have the one. There will eventually be 2 in the Riverlands. Hopefully they get that in sooner rather than later, because that will help with a lot of the queuing. So yes, there will be different places based off race. Armored up melee healers sounds hard to balance. Yeah, I mean, it is. But it was fun. Node Wars was fun. So I created that sort of battle cleric was what I called it. I added heavy armor. I used a mace and a shield. So I traded off some things. I traded off some mana and some other mana regen stuff for more mitigation and more health and things like that. And then I spec'd into more sort of AE heals, AOE damage, so that I could kind of be upfront with everyone fighting and still healing them. It was fun to play. It is hard to sort of get to work very well right now, but I don't know how many people um, watch the Golden Feather Tavern. If you don't, please do. It's Chibi and Vertec. They're great. They've kind of been out a little bit from the community because the hurricane messed up their house, but um, Chibi also plays cleric, and she was in No Wars with me, and we had completely different experiences despite playing the same class. So I think that's a good sign. How squishy are the backliners and ashes? Entirely depends on what you're fighting, because even some of the tanks are squishy. So on Sunday morning, I was level 9 when I started, level 11 when I finished, and we were fighting level 12 to 13 3 stars over in Highwayman Hills. So there's the star system, right? Most of your solo stuff are not going to have stars, and then you'll have a 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. So we were fighting 3 stars, and even for those, the tanks were taking quite a lot of damage. So squishy is all relative to where you're at. I had a couple of event bosses that one-shotted me. So as a cleric, melee cleric is a little squishy at low level. Yeah, that's where I say grab it. That's why I've kind of switched over to using the spell book and just sort of sitting in the back and healing from there. That I think that has worked much better. You stay out of our backlines. Mages are too pretty to be hit. Get out of line, hold or bust. Yeah, or they're going to move you out, right? That's what they've done. They ported people out. What am I missing here? People will 100% quit over it. What are they going to quit over? Absolutely love the golden feathered. Yeah, yeah, they're great. They are great people. I actually did their guild summit, and I've been on the show with them before too. They're wonderful people. Yep, Chibi is a healer and Vertec is a tank. So, well, I feel like I'm missing something. Literally, what are you talking about? People will quit. Here, I missed some chat. I think. Yes, but with the corruption system, it turns into AFK wait game for the first tag content contest. You're talking about okay, gotcha. Corruption system. The book splash is also nice. Yes, it is, but it has gotten me in trouble at times. Um, where I've thought I'm hitting one, I'm pulling in one thing, and I end up pulling in like 4 or 5, and I have to run. So yes, I do have responses enabled for chat, but there's a lot of chat, so I have 2 windows. So yeah, I am kind of going back and forth. I have streamer.bot chat up, and then I just have regular Twitch chat. So uh, yeah, for the hurricane relief, yeah, Penumbra, that was terrible. Because they're still not fully back yet, I don't think. So no reason to worry. Corruption will go through iterations. Also, the ocean is supposedly open PvP. Can't wait to see people test the ocean combat. Yeah. It will definitely go through it. It's already going through iterations, right? We've seen it actually get more punishing over the course of pre-alpha 2. So I actually killed someone that was corrupted Saturday. I went corrupted Friday, but it did not stay corrupted. Can someone confirm what's corruption increased for A2 specifically? Yes, they did increase it up. I actually thought it was kind of funny. So, depending on your personal feelings and thoughts in Discord, you either might like Envious or you might not like Envious. I have personally, I've been on with Yokai on their show and talk with DA, and I think they're good people. But um, they had their discussion rounds interview with Steven a couple Sundays ago before ours, and they were talking about how they felt that corruption at the time was pretty brutal. And of course, they're big PvPers, and they felt like it was too much, and that it might need to come down a little bit. And then it was like 2 days later they patched in even more punishing corruption, so it made me laugh a little bit. But Jane Signal, yeah, you see, you're in Florida, huh? Yeah, so you've probably seen some a little bit this season. I tested the corruption. Unfortunately, lost the scepter because of it. Yeah, feels good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to actually. So when I logged in Friday, I was in the middle of a group of people, like an orgy of characters, and I couldn't move no matter what. Like I couldn't unstuck or anything. And so I killed the people around me and went corrupted so that the guards would kill me, and then I would end up spawned out somewhere. It worked, but I also lost two of my two pieces of starter gear. But so I mostly feel bad that I have spent a lot of time on Ashen Forge talking about how pissed people would be if they came into Ashes and just started getting killed right away. Like we've had that conversation, and here I was having to kill people to to I didn't want to go back in the queue. That's what it was. Like I kept hearing like, oh shit, the queue's terrible. The queue's all kinds of messed up right now. So I didn't want to log out because I didn't want to have to get in the queue. So I just killed some people. Sorry, apologies, but it's just a game, right? You're playing November 8th. Yeah. Dr. Mass Murder. Yeah. I don't know how many I killed, but um it also spawned you in some random locations too. It was weird. It put us in this really weird spot. I'm trying to think. It was outside of Lionhold, but we actually had to do some climbing off the mountain. I don't even know. It put us in a really really weird spot. Do you think Ashes will have a lot of PvP skirmishes for the sake of just doing PvP? Yes. Or more organized PvP? Yes. Like guild wars or faction wars? Yes. You're gonna see all that. So you're gonna see your guild wars, your node wars, your node sieges, your caravans. Like you're gonna have organized PvP. But then you're also, I think, going to have a lot of skirmishes. Actually, I mentioned Envious. Envious and Guild Nova Ordem, which is a Brazilian guild, have a lot of back and forth. Like all of Pre-Alpha 2, it was fun watching them shit talk. And I think it was yesterday that Nova Ordem put out a YouTube video of them just murdering Envious all over the place. I don't know. Maybe it was edited to look one-sided, but they were fighting just to fight. They were just skirmishing just for the hell of it. So, yeah, I think you'll get all of that. This at the core, this is a PvP game. So yeah, do no harm. Yeah, do no harm outside of the fake worlds. Do no harm in the real world. Ganking people for no reason. I don't think that's going to be as bad as everyone worried. I really don't. I don't think that's going to be. We talked a lot about that over the years about potentially being a problem, but I've through pre-alpha 2, throughout the stress tests, through this weekend, like I had no one tried to PK me or flag on me at all. Um, so, but I was also paying a lot of attention to people around. So that's actually a good example of sort of the differences in playing Ashes is when we found this really good grind spot on Sunday. Well, I didn't find it, but I joined my guild. There were a couple of times we had another group come up on us, and we had to sort of watch both ways because we didn't know if this group was going to try to engage us to take over the spot, which they could have done. So that's just a very different way of playing a game um, that people are just going to have to get used to. So those are sort of the engagements that might take place. Did you end up spawning a new Ayla where it had no textures? No. Luckily I did not. Um, did you see Jamie bring Firebrand to Winston? I did. Um, I had streamed incredibly early that day, so I did not. I was not playing the game at all myself, but I sat and watched. Yes, I watched him bring it in. Um, he said that was kind of a declaration of war, and technically that's against my guild. So, because he brought it into Rive's area up there in Winstead. So hopefully they'll patch the horse kill getting corruption. Oh, it currently does not. Yeah, yeah. People have definitely been killing horses. All about fighting over nodes. Yeah, and other things too. Primarily, it comes down to money. It largely just comes down to the financial systems, and that's really what you're fighting over, that and resources. Thoughts on becoming corrupted and losing it by just having a guild member eliminate you? It's possible. Yeah, yeah. And Steven has said that's possible. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they intend to somehow make that not possible. Also using placeholder gear. Yeah, I mean these are all things he's mentioned. I think a lot of it is just getting through these first few phases to see what corruption feels like. Because another way you can lose it is just by crafting. So like if you have a lot of combines just waiting to be done or something, you can just go kill people and then go back to a crafting station and game and lose corruption there too. I do think when people hit high level, they may get more bored and frequent. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. That's probably when PvP will occur more. Gatekeeping bosses for sure. I was in a group farming the church, and I had one of them in my party. They killed all of us. Oh, damn. Guild versus raid boss can be the best time. Yeah. Um. Again, I'm not been deep into PvP, so. But that video makes me think that the game will be a Zerg fest. I mean, the world will hopefully be so large that Zergs will, if Zergs happen, they'll just be local. We ran into barely any ganking yet. Yeah, which I think is important to point out because I think that the time for ganking is now, right? When people are just figuring shit out. I think this is when you're at most risk for it. But Penumbra, when I was first spawned in, I was trapped and couldn't move too. Oh, a GMT teleported you out. That's probably the more proper way. I chose violence instead. Will Diggs be able to live his peaceful life in ashes? I think so. I think so. He won't do much. He only played for like an hour or two, so he did not do much playing this weekend. When I'm leveling, I ignore PvP. I generally do too, but I do now have to keep an eye on things around me just to make sure nobody tries to off me. Do you know whether there'll be any in-game titles or small perks? We don't know yet. I bet you there will be though. One thing I noticed was one of the events that gives you 61 glint. I'm surprised I did not get, oh, that's a good point. Didn't get killed right after that, knowing everyone had 61 glint. That's a good point. I mostly can't wait to see the new biomes. Which one do you fancy? Oh, you know what? Somebody asked about biomes, and I said I was going to read them off, and then I forgot. I don't know if they're still in chat. Probably what I look most forward to is going to be like the sort of the mountains areas, either tabletop mountains, snowy mountains, something like that. I also wouldn't mind the tundra a little bit, but got bug spawned. No matter where I saved my spawn, it always sent me back to the start portal. Yeah, that's happened to me in pre-alpha too. That's been a bug that they've just not fixed completely yet. High value targets will exist for sure. Yes, I think I saw 2 PKers in my 20th. Yeah, there's just not a lot out there right now. There just really isn't. Oh, I heard you says sorry. Yeah, I just completely lost track of like what we were talking about. I have it pulled up. I can, but if you already read it, I won't. Um, Sitting right there, a tab says biomes. Which node type are you feeling right now for launch? Early days. Probably. That's a good question. Either scientific or economic. One of those two is most likely. Um, Economic for the sort of trade house potentials. I don't know. One of those two. I'm not going to go for the the religious or the what's the other, the war fight one, whatever that is. Um I'm missing some YouTube chat here. Farming nodes came up in a party of 6 farming bears, and they told me this is private land, and I laughed at them. They killed me, and I rushed back to ask if they wanted some more corruption. Ah, you can't interact with node crafting stations, so it'd have to be a freehold. Yeah, we need freeholds in too. That's a great. The freeholds are another system that we don't have access to. Making me wonder why. Why do we not have the freehold yet? So what you're saying is that you're a dwarf. Um, actually, probably. Yeah, yeah. Most likely. We'll see. Um, so far the relation between PvP and gear and ashes makes me think of Mortal Online. You end up wearing armor you can easily replace. Yeah, I probably. Well, maybe. I mean, you're not going to drop your armor unless you're corrupted. So, as long as you don't go corrupted, you'll be fine. You'll have to repair, but traveling between science nodes sounds good to me. Yeah, I mean, science is another one that it's either science or the economic. I'm not sure which yet for me. I don't know about this part. What can scientific lead to? Yeah, as mentioned, traveling and some other stuff like that. I think you'll get some perks that will be better quality of life stuff, basically. More online too. I know many. Yeah, coming from that game to this. All right, Lulu. Yeah, I'm going to be headed out here in probably about 5 minutes to myself. So it's getting after 11. I have to be up for work here in a little bit. So um, we'll see you tomorrow, Lulu. As always, appreciate the conversation. We did find a quirk. I will say we found a quirk in corruption that I'll mention because it's one that I think can get um, potentially. I don't think it's an exploit, but it's one that can be used in a not so great way. How dare life interfere with ashes? Exactly. I was duoing with someone that I met on I think it was Saturday, and um, they died. So I was watching their ashes. I was standing over their ashes, waiting for them to come back so that they could loot it, right? And somebody came up to me, or somebody else came up and looted their corpse, their ashes. And so I did not like that because it was not theirs. They did not earn it. So I subsequently flagged, and while this person was fighting monsters, I flagged and started hitting them. And they ultimately did die, but it was the monster that they were fighting got the last hit in, not me. And so I did not get corruption. So I was effectively the reason they died, and I caused their death, but I did not get corrupted from it. And they didn't flag back. They did not turn purple. They were white the whole time. So um, it seems like a little bit of an interesting twist in how corruption works. But so depending on the leader's decisions, the servers are going to be different from each other. Yeah, yeah, that's the whole idea. That is 100% the one of the cooler aspects of this is that because all of this is player driven. Now you're going to have overall story arcs, right? You're going to have these sort of overarching themes. For example, when an expansion is released, you're going to have patch that expansion to all the servers. So there has to be a method to do that. But within each server, these small storylines, these small differences, the different nodes that pop up, that's all player driven. So that is going to create very different worlds to a point where, if you level to 25 Envira and then you go to Lineth, like you could have a very different experience based off of how that server's population decided to do things. So that's one of the more promising aspects that I think is pretty cool about Ashes. So races in chat, Renkai Elf Hunter here. Gonna be Renkai. I know a lot of people that want to be Renkai. I've not been super huge into really caring too much about which race. As said, probably Dwarven, but I do like the Vec. They're also a lot of fun. So yeah, that's the biggest fear a lot of people had with corruption. It's about the killing blow. Yes, it definitely is, because that person was pissed. They came back and I think they called me a dickhead or something, but it's like, you're the one that stole the corpse. You started this shit, not me. You should have fought back. Doesn't looting a player body cause corruption? Nope, sure does not. That was one thing that somebody brought up. They thought, well, maybe if you're looting a corpse that didn't belong, like that you didn't cause the death, should you get some corruption for that? I don't think so. I think anyone should be able to just take the risk of coming up to a corpse and looting it. Valoon Ranger. All right. I heard that only the 5 big mare players, the nodes. Yes, only mares will get flying mounts. That is very true. And they already have them, actually. I was playing Saturday with Richie, SH, Royer, Vladis, and some other folks, and we actually had the mayor of Creary and the mayor of Miraleth in Jamie's guild, Jamie Chaos, was flying over us with a flying mount that he had as mayor. And yeah, he was actually it was funny because not long after that we had people in my chat telling us that they were coming to kill us. So we had some stream snipers helping us out, but you get stolen glint, but no corruption. Yep. Yeah, your glint is stolen, which sells for a lot less depending on where you sell it. So working on a bounty hunting video. You know what I find interesting is if we have corruption in because we really don't want people to go corrupt and kill others, then why do we have bounty hunters in as a system that requires some sort of progression? I can't reconcile those in my head. There was a bug where people who kept killing non-fog players didn't corrupt even. Oh, that's a pretty awful bug. If 3 or 5 people attack a solo, they should all gain corruption, not just the. I don't necessarily disagree with you, Penumbra, but that's just not how it is right now. Chaos is getting too strong already. Yes, they are. They are very strong, actually. Jamie's doing a great job. Jamie's an excellent leader. He's just also a lot of fun. So I think he has a personality that a lot of people get drawn to. What additional risk do you have when you loot a body you did nothing other than getting killed by me? Yeah, he was flying over Winstead. I hope he got some good footage. That was pretty badass. I won't lie. Even though it was my Winstead, it was pretty fun to watch them do that. So there's a bounty system. Yes, there's a bounty system to go after corrupted players. Yes, with progression. So, all right, guys, it is late here for me. So I've been on this really weird ass system, streaming time. Like I said, this weekend I was Saturday, Sunday. I woke up at 5 a.m. and streamed all morning. So now during the week, I really can only do nighttime stuff. So my schedules are all kinds of wacky right now. But let me see. Is there anyone else on right now that is streaming Ashes of Creation? Because we always like to share the love and raid if we can. I think I am the only one. So interesting. Well, we've been the only people talking Ashes tonight. So I have nowhere to send you unless you want me to send you somewhere else. Great stream, Fanboy X. That's a new one, Penumbra. I've heard all sorts of variations of Phantom X. I have not heard Fanboy X, so we'll have to keep that one in mind. I appreciate y'all busy. I appreciate you, Dan. Yeah, no, this is fun. This has been a lot of fun. You know, we also have sort of a goal. Something I've always wanted to do is also try to push for partner. There go my screens again. I still do have the Intrepid launcher up, so I'll have to look into that later. But we've also wanted to push. I've wanted to push for partner, which we're getting kind of close to. So want to keep going for it and keep hanging out with you amazing people. I actually wanted to go over all of the bugs that were currently listed and kind of go over some of the funnier ones in the forums, but we did not get to that. So I might try to do that again. We might try to do that either tomorrow or the next night. Yeah, I will check the timestamp on that stream. And I'm still going to think about I really want to do a giveaway. But we would have to do it before Friday. And I don't have a good way to include the EU people, which I told them I would. So I'm going to have to think about that a little bit more and how we can set that up. But Anyways, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have been a lot of fun tonight. I know we're all missing Ashes of Creation, but it will be back soon enough. And I think it's a great thing actually that we're missing it. I think that says a lot. So y'all have a good night. I will see y'all. Like I said, I'll probably try to be on tomorrow night a little bit too. So we will see you all then.